Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the strategies where we follow all the twists and turns wherever they lead. I am your host, Elise, and your fearless leader. Yes, fearless leader. Um, sorry. Today's Wednesday. There's no school today for my minions. So minions are home. So the whole, getting ready for my show, like that, this is what you get. All right. Don't judge me. I threw my face on. Did I spill a little? No. Threw my face on. Threw my my space buns in and called it a freaking day, people. All right. I threw space buns in and called it a day because I was like, you know what? I'm tired. I'm tired. I slept like shiitake mushroom last night. And StreamYard doesn't like me already this morning. That's fun. That's lots of fun. I felt like I got no sleep because I kept waking up like every, I don't know, hour. Thank you, Monica. It's a mess. But this is, it's my beautiful disaster. I literally just threw them up in space buns. I don't even think they're even. I don't even care. All right. This is real life mom shit. All right. If you're a mom and there's those days where you're just like, I don't fucking care. Today is one of those days, my friends. And just know that even us lowly YouTubers have those days where we're just like, fuck off. Right. This is an oddity you'll probably never see. Me drinking hot coffee straight from said Keurig. I'm a cold coffee drinker, but today my stomach hurt and I was tired and I was like, you know what? No, I think I need hot coffee. So hot coffee it is, everyone. Hot coffee it is. It's not something you will normally see from me. I like iced coffee. Even in the wintertime, yes, I'm a weirdo. I'm from New England. Give me a break. Don't judge me. Don't judge me, goddammit. Oh, thank you, Jimbo. I appreciate the sentiment, my friend, but I know I look like a whole bag of smashed asses right now. And that's totally okay because, that's mom life, right? Looking like a bag of smashed assholes and not caring because I'm a mom and all my minions are home and I slept like shit last night. And it's just one of those fucking days where you're just like, you know what? I don't care. I don't care. Most people love me as I am, imperfections and all. And I love all of you as you are, all your imperfections and all. So this is me imperfect and not actually giving a fuck. If you can't relate with that, I don't know what to tell you. There's this misconception that people share things. And again, I'll address this because I saw this on like a comment section or like in a thread on X. Again, X is a cesspool, but me too, girl. Me too. Oh, thank you, Sarah. Yeah, I have it there. I actually, fun fact, I think it was TJ Maxx I got these mugs at, and they stack on top of each other, and there's like a thing they go in, and there's four of them, and they're my skull mugs. You guys know I love everything pink and everything with skulls. I don't know. It's just my thing, okay? But I do love these mugs. They're some of my favorite mugs that we have. I like to drink tea out of them, and my husband loves hot cocoa. So, but I do love iced coffee all year round. Space buns for the win, right? When I was like, if I get space buns, I don't care if they're even. They're space buns. They're not supposed to be, all right? They're just supposed to be messy. But my hair is long, like very long. And getting it to cooperate on any one day is already difficult task, okay? Literally. Oh, he has a half a day? Oh, well, my kids didn't have school today. Their district said, no, siree. Oh, yeah, it is hump day, isn't it? It is hump day. So let me get back to this. So before I delve into the Karen Read versus Turtleboy, finish him mess that we got going on here, I just want to say I don't share things for sympathy, for pity, for people to be like, oh, that's terrible, that's awful. I share them because I'm just a normal person, just like all of you. I have good days, I have bad days, I have budgets, right? And I know that 90% of Americans don't have $450 in their bank account or savings account, if they even have a savings account, for an emergency. right? I am just like them. I am literally all of them. And I say it so that people can relate, right? I'm not a large YouTuber. I'm not showing off my mansion, right? And my 17 Lamborghinis. I'm just an everyday person, just like you. And I want to be obviously as transparent as possible. And I want to share with you guys as much as I can. But I also want to share the good and the bad, right? What's a savings account? Like, what is that exactly? Like, if I had that, that'd be great. Like, what is it? But my point is, if you have it, you have a savings account, right? If you don't have it, you don't. You know, I budget. Everything is budgeted. Every penny is budgeted. But that's life, right? That's everyday life. It's a way for people to understand that I'm just an everyday person that goes through all the same things that you do, right? Literally. All the same days that you kind of have where the kids are screaming and yelling and driving you fucking bonkers. I have those days too. Your husband's being a man-child. I have those days too. Or it's just being goofy and funny and cute. I have those days too. Where you're just like, wow, I paid every bill and now I have $1 in my account. Yep, definitely have those days. I am literally just like the rest of all of you. And I don't want to hide from people my everyday struggles simply because some weirdo might think, oh, well, that's just for pity. No, it's not for pity. I don't want your fucking pity. Take your pity and hold it in your fucking pocket, okay? I figure it out. I always do. I've been on my own since I was 17 and a half. And before that in foster care. I've always been on my own and figured it out, all right? My whole life has been fight or flight and survive. So I will always figure it the fuck out somehow, right? But so I don't share it for sympathy or wah-wahs, or I share it because all of you probably are going through the same things. And I want people to know that I'm just a person, I'm just a human, and that you're not alone, right? That you might be having a shitty day because you're on new meds, you have some health struggles, and their meds are making you feel shitty. Me too. Me friggin' too. I'm in that boat as well. I want people to know I'm human and that I go through shit just like all of you do. I'm just a normal person, right? It's not for pity. It's not for likes. It's not for views. It's to be authentic with you guys and give you guys what my life is like on a daily basis so you can relate to me and I can relate to you, because I don't just like give to you guys. You guys give to me in ways that I can't give back in. You know what I mean? When I say give, I mean the stories you guys share of your lives and the things that you're going through, privately and publicly. It helps me too. This is a beneficial relationship for my viewers and me, because I learn things from you and you learn things from me. We can relate. We can cry, laugh, scream together as a community. And that is why I share. That's why I share. I share so that everyone can relate to one another and so that you know I'm just a normal person. I'm just a normal person. I go through shit too. Life is fucking tough. We all need a goddamn helmet. I'm telling you, right? We all need a helmet for life because it just keeps dropping shit on our heads, you know? Oh, thank you, Sailboat Wolf. It's nice to see you. It's not my birthday yet, chicks. It's Friday, but I figured I would celebrate with you guys this week because, well, I'm not going to be here Friday. I'm not going to be here Thursday. Obviously, it's Thanksgiving. And so today is the last day of what would be my birthday week celebration, which was just like a way to celebrate the channel and you guys and just to be here with you guys for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Because my birthday is not till Friday. It's the day after Thanksgiving. And but thank you. I appreciate that. It's space buttons. They're uneven and I don't care. It is my job. It is my job. People forget that as well, though. They also forget that this is my job. And I love when, and I love my job, right? Because it's not just what I do here, right? It's what I do when this stream shuts down that I'm most proud of. And that is being able to help other people navigate things that they wouldn't know how to otherwise, right? It doesn't cost anything to be just a decent human and spend some time helping someone else with anything that they might need a little bit of, information on, right? Information is always such a big help to people. And I'm an information person. I just love learning new things. And I was a volunteer advocate long before I started a YouTube channel. A lot of people don't, but Benny pointed this out to me and he's like, I'm so glad I went back and I watched some of your older videos. I was like, you know what, Benny? It's funny you say that because most people don't even realize those exist because they're not live streams. They're like long form videos I uploaded from years back. But it's the kind of stuff that I had been doing for years and years and years and years, ever since I got sober, right? And quietly, right? And, you know, I also see people criticize other people about like sharing on Twitter or TikTok of the good deeds that they do. And I think people have this misconception that people share it for some sort of like or the views or that's not why people share it. At least that's not what I would do, right? For me, the point of sharing it is to show other people that this is something that is feasible for them to do for other people as well. And you hope and you pray that by putting it out there, other people get inspired by what you did and do it for someone else. Like that's the whole point. You've never been inspired by seeing something, a recipe. You're like, oh, I'm going to try that recipe, right? You saw it on TikTok, you saw it on whatever, and you got inspired by it. So you were like, I'm going to try that recipe, right? It's the same concept. You see someone doing something good for someone else, and you're like, wow, that's such a great fucking idea. We could totally do that. And then you, in turn, go and do that. If those videos reach one person that gets inspired to do something like those things, then then it's a success. It's a success. That's the point, to create a domino effect of people sort of wanting to give a helping hand out to other people. And, you know, my grandmother used to say, it's not a hand out, it's a hand up. And I've been in the position to have it all and then have nothing, right? I made very good money for a lot of years of my life. I had a career in corrections until my health tanked, right? I have had a lot and I have had nothing. We're back to nothing, right? But we shall rebuild. That's life. It's how it works. Ups and downs. It's about who's there when you're down, right? Who's there to help pick you back up and give you words of encouragement and just remember that you're human and a person. That's important, right? Because if you don't have people that are surrounding you when you're at your worst or going through shit, they don't deserve you at your best. That's just real life, right? I share things with you guys because I'm just normal. I'm just human. I go through all the same struggles as everyone else on any given day, right? Obviously, there are some things I don't share. A lot of it is to do with my health situation. And then, you know, some trolls will be like, well, you look able-bodied. Well, that's great. I'm glad that you think I look able-bodied. My health says otherwise, but you go right ahead and go and say what I look like. People used to say that about my daughter when she was little because she's small for her age. Obviously, that's part of her disease, short stature and weight gain issues and things like that. But when she was little, you couldn't tell the difference. She was just looked like a kid, right? She looks fine. You know how many times I heard she looks fine? She looks fine. That's cool. She might look fine, but she's not. People with cancer look fine until they don't. You know what I'm saying? That sort of misconception of someone needs to be screaming if they're in pain and crying 24/7, that's not how people with chronic pain work. We've learned to deal with it. It's uncomfortable, right? It fucking hurts, but we're not going to sit there and cry every day, all day about how bad it hurts, you know? Oh, listen, I'm going to get into that. Don't you worry, the quali. I'm going to get into that. Thank you, Biker Daddy. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you, Sailboat. It's nice to see you. Which live? Well, thank you, chicks. I appreciate that. They're very uneven, but I was like, you know what? Today's a mom day. My kids are home from school. There's no school today. They didn't have school today for the district. Said no school for you. You know, it's the day before Thanksgiving. I don't care. I don't care. God damn it! I put my face on. Put space buttons in. I threw my Cape Cod long sleeve, comfy, oversized shirt on, and I called it a motherfucking day. Called it a day. You know? Love you. I watched The Young Jerks last night, and she was supporting him still. Who, Nan? Nan was supporting. I was looking for the live, and I couldn't find it. Oh, did it get taken down, or did it get privated? Good morning. Morning, girl. Nan is still supporting TV, and JFK was talking about being attacked, which, oh God. I asked, how can Nan continue to support him, and was banned. See, if you say anything about Nan, all of a sudden you're timed out or blocked, and it's weird. It's weird to me. You're not allowed, like, it's not like you're saying her, she's a terrible person. It's like, how can she still support him or him support her? It's a valid question. They could just address it by saying, we don't have the answer to that, we don't know. But I mean, the block is a little much, or the ban, the timeout, whatever. Same as homesteading, is all trial and error. Networking, right? Trial and error. That's what life is. One big fucking trial and error, essentially. You know. I would be fed up with a lot of this shit. You know. But we are going to go over the Billy Bush stuff. I think it's interesting to watch what was said there. And I know I can't normally listen to the turtle's voice because the lies that sort of screech through his mouth. I think they break glass in places that we just don't know about. But, you know, some Amy girl took a screenshot of your live last night just to hate on your looks. Well, that's cute. Hi, Amy. I'm glad you hate watch me. Your life must be so fucking boring for you to screenshot me and send it right back to the turtle. How cute. Are you jealous, Amy? Are you jealous? You poor thing. Poor Amy. Not the Amy I know, obviously, but some Amy that follows the turtle. Hey, Amy, one day, right? One day when the turtle comes after you because you disagree with him publicly, or someone you love and he tells you to die in a hole, don't come crying to me. I don't know what the fuck to tell you there, sweetheart. You can take all the screenshots you want. Should I post her on this side or this side? Or this side? Girl, you know I was a stripper once, right? Like, I know that I'm not an ugly girl. So, I mean, not really doing yourself any favors there by screenshotting and trying to make fun of someone's looks who isn't ugly. That's kind of weird. I'm just saying. It's a weird thing to do, sweetie. It's a weird fucking thing to do. Bingo, Jesse. You just know how to function with the pain at that point, you know? Girl, me too. I have faith in people, right? I have faith in people. I do. But this trial has shown me there's a lot of really angry, unhinged people out there. Give me 1 second, guys. My little needed something. My little thinks it's dress up time. I'm like, girl, are you doing laundry? It's not dress up time. It's not dress up time. But I do believe in people, right? At least most of the time. But this trial, this person, the sewer turtle, has showed me that there are some really shitty people out there. A lot of misplaced anger and hate. And he just tells them where to direct that misplaced anger and hate. And they direct it wherever he tells them to. And that's the sad part, which is you can't have agency if someone has to tell you where to throw your misplaced anger and hatred for someone you don't even know. You're taking his word. Didn't he just show you the other day that he will actively lie to benefit himself? Hello? I mean, it's not often he actually admits to lying. And the only reason he admitted to lying about that photo not being AI was simply to make Karen look bad. It was his way to say, like, she's a fucking liar, but also made himself look like a liar. But he's, not cognizant of that because most narcissists aren't. They think they're making other people look bad. That's part of being a narcissist. You know what I mean? They have no ability to understand what people actually perceive things as. Girl, listen, me too. My space, my peace, it's not cool. It's not. Yeah, that's sad. That's sad. It's really, really sad, And you do. Our peace is important. It is. Your mental health is important. And it's not worth it. It's not worth it for some of these trolls. It's really, really not, And it's sad though, right? It is an important realization, but at the same time, it's sad because you want to love people. I do. They finally responded to his motion to dismiss the witnesses. Yeah, I'm going over that later. The witnesses filed their send-off stuff to federal court. So I already knew that was happening, like ahead of time. So I was just sort of waiting for it to plop so we could go over it, and we're going to read it in a little bit. JFK flipped his shit towards TV. He's fucking had it, mentioning his name on the daily. I don't blame him. But that's who he is. It's a way to sort of get a rise out of you. It's what, trying to be a moment and not be sad for holiday without my parents. Oh, I'm sorry, Michelle. Is it bad? I am not cooking tomorrow. I just want to stay home with my boyfriend and relax. No, that's not bad. Listen, it's your Thanksgiving. You celebrate that in any way that you want to celebrate it, right? And I'm not cooking either. I'm not even going to be home at the I invited people here who didn't have family and friends, and they had already made plans because I just want to make sure nobody was alone. And once everyone had figured out what they were doing, and I said, okay, cool, we will take up the offer to go to someone else's house that we were given, because then I don't have to cook, right? So we won't even be home. I'll be in Jesse's neck of the woods, actually, tomorrow. But if I'm not too exhausted from turkey, I might pop in later on in the night. It won't be during the day. Later on in the night. Just because, there are people who are home by themselves. Same thing for Christmas Eve. That's why we're having a Christmas Eve thing, Well, that's why you say hi. Hi, Amy. Hi, Trolley. Hey, girl. Hey. Hey, girl. Hey. I mean, it's just insane, right? Well, exactly. Why don't you screenshot yourself when you're talking, Amy? See what that looks like. So I think it bothers me you think it bothers me that you screenshot it and send it to the turtle? No, it actually shows how pathetic you are. That's pretty pathetic. I don't bother to do that kind of shit because it's fucking stupid. It's fucking dumb. Right? I mean, which pose do you want, man? I mean, let's make some poses. Let's break this shit down like Vogue and Madonna. Strike a pose. I mean, it's crazy, right? It's crazy. They screenshot and send to the turtle, thinking it's going to somehow bother me in some way. Like, dude, if you catch me in the middle of talking and I look like this, I don't fucking care. I don't fucking care. You mistake me for someone who gives a fuck. There they go. There they go right there. All the fucks I had left, they flew away long ago. They're gone. I don't give a shit. You mistake me for someone who does. That's exactly, Shay, you just hit the nail on the head. It's for brownie points, my friend. They want those brownie points from the turtle. A little pat on the head. Hey, you did a good job there, Minion. Good job, Minion. Good job. You screenshotted someone I don't like for no really valid reason other than she wouldn't lie for me and I got caught sleeping with 4 or 5 women and I was married. So let's definitely bash her. I don't really have a real gripe with her. It's just this real petty thing that I couldn't tell the world because they would know what a philandering piece of shit I am. So, hey, fuck it. Fuck it. It's just a fucking cray-cray. Like, here's the thing. You can call me all the names in the world. You can call me ugly. You can call me whatever you want. But I know I'm not ugly. So that's just laughable to me at that point. I'm not a supermodel, that's for sure. But I'm not an ugly girl. So saying dumb shit like that just makes me laugh at you. Just makes me laugh. Like, come on, man. And that's exactly what you should have. A nice, relaxing Thanksgiving, my friend. Nice, relaxing Thanksgiving. All right. It is gross, but You know, it's what they do. I wouldn't expect any other, like, for them to do it any other way. You know, I wouldn't. And so she needs him to do it. Yeah, he needs like 10 interventions. Most people know that, right? Most people know that. Girl, listen, I get mad when I see people going after you guys, so I know it's probably the opposite way for you. And it just bothers me because what real purpose does it serve? It doesn't. It doesn't. Listen, I would like to say Benny took yesterday, as I thought he absolutely would, with grace and kindness, because he is not a person who would ever go after someone or scream or yell or bash anyone. He wanted to have a conversation, which is very Benny-like, in my opinion. And I think, to me, I would have been caught off guard too. Like, wait, what is happening right now? And wanting to do the adult thing and have a civil conversation, like that's the way we should all be doing it. We should all take a note from Benny's book and say, can we have a civil conversation? Like just a conversation like normal grown adults, because I just don't see that happening anymore. Just people want to, make fun of each other and insult each other. And it's like, it serves no purpose. It serves absolutely zero purpose other than to hurt someone. No purpose, just to hurt someone. And I'm not about that life, bro. I'm not about that life of just hurting people for funsies, because it's not fun. It should feel gross to anybody doing it. It should feel disgusting. It should feel gross. But the minions, the sewer turtle minions, they don't feel gross because it's misplaced anger and hate, and they're missing something in their lives. And they're looking for somewhere to belong, and they figure if they spread that hate and that sort of whatever he wants them to do, then he'll give them a good old pat on the back. They'll be part of something, right? But what they don't realize is they're part of something very toxic and disgusting that they're going to end up realizing was gross, that they didn't actually want a part of, and that they were doing and saying things they wouldn't normally do or say. And when all is said and done, they're going to be ashamed of the things that they did and said while supporting that channel. I've heard it so many effing times from people. So fucking many. It's the same thing over and over, No, coming home, I gotta sleep in my own bed. The little sleep that I do get has to be in my own goddamn bed. Yeah, we do have that. Joan says, hit that like button, folks. That's what she says. Good job, Joan. I will be careful. I'll be super careful. I promise. My YouTube's acting up too, girl. Don't worry. Bingo, Shay. It says more about them than it does anything else. Let's remember that. It says more about them than it says for anybody else. And that's a fact. If you feel the need to constantly harass or make fun of someone, it says more about you than the person that you're attacking. That's the bottom line. There's a reason why you guys don't see me on social media doing that. It serves no purpose whatsoever. I will defend myself. I will definitely respond and defend myself here or there, but even that is rare because I just kind of ignored at that point. Exactly. There's nothing anybody could say or do that I haven't done to myself, probably worse at that point. You know what I mean? Thank you, Joan. That like button, Amy. We love that. We do love Benny. I mean, I'm just proud, like, you want that, let's have a conversation. Like, that's such a fucking adult thing to do that you just don't see happening anymore. You don't. But I think we can. I think We can have civil conversations. We can. It's been proven that I have had many civil conversations, and maybe they're not public. A lot of them are private, but I've had many civil conversations with a lot of fucking people that I probably never thought I would have those conversations with. So it can be done, right? It can be. But I think people are still afraid of being attacked by the turtle. I kid you not. And that's sad. You should never be afraid of a YouTuber or disagreeing with them that they're going to come after you. People might disagree with me, but I don't go out of my way to find all the people that disagree with me and then, tell them to go die in a hole. That's what he does, right? That's weird. And fun fact, what he does after his show, like before his shows and during the day, is he sits online under his fake accounts and he looks for people who are disagreeing with him or saying anything that's true. And he actively seeks out a way to disparage them, insult them, use his fake accounts to do so, or ask his, sewer crew to help him sort of attack that 1, 2, 3, 4, however many people he finds that day. That's a great way to spend your time, let me tell you, spending it online 24/7 looking for people that disagree with you. That's fucking weird. That's definitely very cult-like. I don't know anybody does that. That's weird shit. Maui, you hit it on the head, my friend, right? Outrage is addictive, and it is. Right, cool, we can be outraged. Don't you think we should be a little outraged about the shit he has done to people, specifically women? Right? 90% of his victims are women? Come on, man. Come on. We should be collectively outraged that someone like him is even allowed to be platformed. Hey, Amber, he has broken the community guidelines basically every show, yet YouTube has yet to ban him. Ask yourself why. Probably the view money that he brings into YouTube that they take. That should not absolve you. Smaller channels get bounced for less, right? Like, come on. Does the ad before and after? Well, that's probably a fact. I mean, in my opinion, it's probably true. He probably does that too, but I'm just saying. Oh, it definitely hits a nerve. Well, he does. In my opinion, I think he very much has those issues that are unresolved. But when you don't deal with those issues, then you end up like that. Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, private conversations need to be had, or could be had, I guess. You have to be willing to have a conversation, though, right? And open to have that conversation. And some people aren't there yet. And that's fine. That's cool. I get it. But what they should know, all of those people out there that are still simping for the sewer turtle should know that there are plenty of people who are in your position who stepped back and stepped away because they realized it was a toxic environment, right? Toxic. That's not normal. People cut. Sorry, we're buffering. But, it's a way that, the hell? Life, gets toxic. Hold on, what's this? Someone sent me something. Oh my God, that's hilarious. All right, well, that was entertaining. Okay, so what I got is I have a bunch of stuff that we're gonna go over today, but I do want to show you guys how this stuff might be moved into federal court now, right? So before I go over, actually, you know what? Let's do the Billy Bush thing first. Let's do that thing first because I want to see fake outrage and someone who lies through their teeth. This is something that you can tell he just is lying. I'm not a fan of Billy Bush. I think he's an idiot. Just saying. You can be a fan of him. That's totally cool. That's your opinion. I'm not a fan of him. I find him a little disingenuous. but that's my personal opinion based on information that I know that maybe some of you don't. So let's get into this real quick. So this was yesterday's. What is happening? What is this? I want this. Okay, I want this. I'm gonna pull this up. Okay. So now listen, again, y'all can love him. That's totally fine. My opinion is he's a little disingenuous and biased. And I say that because of things that I know that necessarily you guys might not, right? So I always tell people, do your own research. You should always do that. You should always do your own research, always on anything. You should never just take people's words. You should always see. I see his little sign back there that says Hot Mics with Billy Bush. I know I have a sign that says Twisted Strategies, and right now it's off camera. It's up here. But I want a neon one. My Do Epic Shit neon one is so bright you guys can't even see it on camera, which pisses me off because it's an amazing sign and I love it. But it's so bright. I agree with you, Michelle. I think Will is probably one of the biggest minions out there. That's absolutely true. But before I hit the button to start this bad Larry, we've been here 38 minutes and I have yet to tell people how you can donate to the channel. So there's many ways you can donate to the channel. There is a billion different ways that you can help support. There's that like button. There's sharing. That's always very helpful. There's that new thing called hyping. You can hype 3 times a week for free and small, and it's supposed to help small creators. Okay, so when the live stream is over, it takes I think about 3 to 5 minutes. Then there's a button that pops up that'll say hype, and you can hype the video, and that actually helps the smaller creators be seen a little better, I guess. So that's a new way to sort of help out a small channel, and I would appreciate it, obviously. You can get yourself a super chat or a super sticker or a membership, or you can gift memberships to other people, which is nice. You definitely want to get your membership between now and Christmas Eve, because we have our Christmas Eve members only stream. I'll have 10 to give out on the 1st that they give me to give out for free every month on the 1st. So I'll give those out. And so those 10 people will be, will have their memberships. And so that'll be fun. And then there are the most direct routes, right? Which are Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Revolut. We have a link for debit or credit. It's pinned to the top of the chat. It's in the description of the video. So I appreciate any and all donations. We are a small channel. We don't have any sponsors. There's no corporate backers. There's no other YouTube creators that are helping us, that tell us what we can and can't say. We say what we want to say, what we can say. And we give you guys the truth bombs that we can, and we appreciate any and all support, because we are not a channel of 10,000 or 20,000 or 40,000. We're just a couple thousand, right? And we're just slowly but surely kind of growing. And we definitely appreciate any and all support to the channel. Those are all of the ways that you can help support the channel if you would like. Now, let's see. Let me get this thing up here. Oh, didn't I think there was a $10 donation that came in yesterday after I wasn't live anymore. And it definitely, I don't know how to find it right now, right this very second, but it said something like, happy early birthday. And I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I will, if I somehow pull this off for my birthday and actually go out, I will use that for my food to fill my belly and my drink. So thank you to that anonymous person that sent $10 yesterday after I wasn't live anymore. I appreciate you. Okay, now let's get this else to me. I'm going to take the big one off the stream, and you guys can see that there's a purple banner at the bottom of the screen here that scrolls by. That has a lot of the information to donate on it, and it's always scrolling by. So if you need it while I'm talking or whatever, it's scrolling. The only one that's not on there, I think, is Chime, and it's not on the big one either. And the debit and credit link, but that's all in the description of the video too. So if you just click open the description of the video, all that stuff is there. And to be fair, Chime is literally the exact same thing as Cash App with the $sign and all. It's the exact same thing. So really all you need to look at is that for the Cash App, and you'd know Chime is the same. All right, let's see. I just took the little one off, not the big one. My brain today, I'm telling you, I'm tired, guys. I'm tired. I am tired. All right. Now, content warning, folks. Billy Bush brings up the turtle, okay? And the turtle proceeds to lie his ever-loving ass off and says, I want nothing from Karen Read. I want nothing. She owes me nothing. But then, in other words, says basically that he wants her to do these shows with him so he can make money, and that's why he's so upset. He says it without saying it, and it's very abundantly clear that he needs and wants the admiration and her to partner with him. And it's not because he wants to partner with her because he likes her, and then he's made that clear, right? Or they're friends, right? It's money. It's all about money. That's abundantly clear to anybody watching it, including the Sewer Turtle minions. He tells you he's not friends with her. He doesn't like her. He just wants to do shows at the Wilbur, even if it's her bashing him, so that they can both make money. Everything is about money and fame with him. If you haven't figured that out yet, then you really are blind. I don't know what to tell you. Nurse Kim ripped into Nan because she called out Auntie Deb for being a creep. Nan calling him a psycho was too much for Kim, but Turtle's language is cool with her. See, that's the hypocrisy that I can't really get down with, which is it's selective outrage. You're selectively outraged at Nan, but nada on the turtle. You're totally okay with everything he says and the way he says it, that you will never, ever call him out. That's not realistic. What's realistic is you won't call him out because you're too afraid of what he will do to you if you do. I'm sorry, but it's a little cowardly, especially if you have a YouTube channel that you started off of the back of him, right? Essentially, that's where your followers come from, and all the money you're making from it comes from is him. So that's why you'll never see someone like her ever call him out. And it's unfortunate. It is very, very unfortunate. All right, get ready. Like I said, content warning. Content warning. Oh, he has sponsors. That's great. Sure. Sure. Again, guy doesn't live here, so he really doesn't know what happens here, but okay. Oh, hey, thank you. It's nice to see you. Great characters? I mean, why are people characters? They're people. I'm confused here. Oh, God. As the douche nozzle, the sewer turtle. Yep, that's what we know him as, the sewer turtle, douche nozzle, the putt knocker. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he's saying irrelevant shit. That's why. Oh, this is painful. No, you can't hear him at all?
said this could happen to me. This could happen to my sister. And he was fearless. I will say that, fearless in beating that drum. And, you know, there's a prosecutor, Robert Cosgrove, who now wants to say he was more than fearless. Perfect. He was creating fear. And and so he's facing, obviously, a trial for witness intimidation. They want Karen to be lumped into that. They want Karen's phone. They want to see the collusion between the two of them along the way. And Cosgrove would like nothing more than to add her to that.
I have to agree with you.
You know, he's got to fight this off. Turtleboy's got to fight this off. It's
sure.
It's a heavy one. He's got a hearing on a week from Friday.
Maybe that'll help.
On the 5th of December.
Committing crimes, you know.
And he's facing 90 years in jail, which isn't good.
90 years. Know about this. 90 years.
On Sunday, his frustration with Karen turned into what he called an impromptu intervention.
He needs a fucking intervention.
He went nuclear on her.
He went nuclear.
I mean,
yeah, he did.
He was under power, but he
under what?
Vented his entire frustration with Karen. Fucking get over it. Your Turtleboy derangement syndrome has consumed you.
Which is ridiculous. Doesn't exist. It's fake.
I don't know if you're naive or blind or stupid of the idea of that I kept you out of jail.
Cosgrove did a response.
There you go.
Motion. Impromptu tantrum.
That sets the table. Turtleboy, I think, is here, Steve. Yeah? Let's get him on. Bring up our guy. There he is. There he is. He's hydrating in the car. What's going on?
Not much, Billy. How are you?
I'm good. What made you go? Let's just start with what made you go to air out the dirty laundry on Sunday and go after Karen?
Well, it was like an intervention. We called it the Karen Read intervention. Like, she needed an intervention because, like, what motivated me to do that was that the McAlberts started a legal defense fund for themselves that raised like over $40,000 in like less than 48 hours. And then Karen Read,
I don't know what he's talking about.
Came out with the legal defense fund. Well, I don't know if you call it a defense fund, just a legal fund, because she's not facing any criminal charges. And it raised in 24 hours like less than 4,000. So like we're talking 10 to 1 here. I mean, you're getting beat by the McAlberts 10 to 1. I think that's ground for an intervention. Like, we need to have a talking to about what's got.
Let me just point out real quick, who the fuck is he to have a talking to about any goddamn thing? Just FYI. He is no one to have a, quote, talking to anyone. That's part of his problem. It's part of his ego, where he seems to think that he gets to tell people how they should operate, what they should say, what they shouldn't say, why they should say it, and that if they do not do what he wants or likes, it is time to use his minions to harass, insult, defame, lie, you know, all the things that he's been doing for 10 plus fucking years. And again, as Joan so kindly puts out here, he only cares about his own First Amendment rights. He's not an advocate of First Amendment. He doesn't give a fuck about anybody else's First Amendment except his own. The man literally messages and calls people, threatening them, screaming and yelling or typing, saying, I'm going to destroy you if you don't stop saying this. I am going to make you Turtleboy famous, or Kate Peter famous, or LG famous, as in Leon. Like, he literally uses the same little phrases over the last 10 years, and he continues to do it now, right? So he will threaten people and try to blackmail them into shutting up. Does that sound like someone who's about the First Amendment? Like, that's the way he has to frame it, so people will donate to his ridiculous defense fund. It has nothing to do with the First Amendment. It has to do with him getting out of jail, all right? He doesn't give a shit about the First Amendment. He only cares about his own speech. He doesn't give a fuck about anybody else's speech. He's constantly trying to silence any dissent about him or the shit he does that is truthful. Well, Cheryl, I'm sorry. I oftentimes give I apologize, Cheryl, but sometimes I give commentary when they're saying things that are completely fucking irrelevant, stupid, and make no sense. Which, again, Billy Hot Mike's here. Didn't start a YouTube channel with, 1 subscriber and work his way up. He was on TV. So he instantly had 40,000, 50,000 the second he opened that thing, we're talking about a guy who talks like he lives here and knows what's going on. The problem is he doesn't live here and he doesn't actually know what's going on. He has a lot of details completely wrong. And that's part of the reason why I'm not a huge fan of Billy Hot Mikes, because it doesn't seem like he does much research outside of what people tell him. That's not research. That's gossip, right? And part of the problem with said Turtleboy also is Billy keeps calling him a journalist, which is just patently false. Okay. Do you know that many lawsuits that Aiden was sued for before the Karen Read case, he would be sued for defamation. He would go into court, and the reason he would win those lawsuits is because he would say he's not a journalist, he's giving commentary, and it's his opinion, so he cannot be sued for it. All right? Come on. Well, that doesn't surprise me, Emily. Who was it? Will? The sewer turtle? Who? Doesn't surprise me, not even a little bit. And I agree. Same with Vinny. They don't clearly do outside research, and that's part of my problem. You can't be a journalist or have any journalistic anything, integrity, ethics, if you run on rumor mills. Aiden oftentimes runs on rumor mills and just says shit that people tell him without actually verifying it being true or not. And as he so well pointed out to everyone a couple days ago, even when he knows something is on the up and true, like the photo of Alan Jackson and Karen Read, he will actively lie about it if he thinks it'll benefit him in any way and say, no, it is not. That's just the trolls. It's AI. It's not real, guys. What do you mean? That's just one example of the lies. There are so many more. When you realize that you lied about something so stupid or so small or even so big, depending on your opinion, you start to realize there's lots of open doors to the other things that he lied about and how he spins everything to fit his narrative and his narrative only. And you will watch that happen in this interview, okay? Hold on. Yeah, he doesn't have a say. That's the point. He doesn't. He just thinks he does, right? And no, he's not going to get 90 years. You know what I mean? He was never going to get 105 or 90 years. It's his way of talking it up like, I'm in so much danger. Help me, help me, help me. Right? Why are you getting pre-approved for a mortgage on a home if you're paying so much money? In this interview, he says he's paying more than Karen Read did for her attorneys, which is hard for me to believe. Okay. He doesn't learn. He's not doing 90 years. He might get a quarter or less of that time. I mean, to be fair, 30 years would still be bad. I don't think he'll get 30 years either. I think he would get somewhere in the range of 5 to 7. If they wanted to throw a book at him, maybe 10. But do I think that'll even make him learn at that point? No, I guess that'll just do the same thing over and over, Bingo. If you do it, it's your fault, right? So I still don't understand how people are like, he's being railroaded while he commits more crimes. It's like, are you blind, deaf, and dumb? I'm confused here, right? My real life actual daughter is blind and she can see what the fuck's going on here. And she's the one who told me that. She's like, Mama, I'm blind and I can see what the hell's happening here. What the fuck is going on? I'm like, I don't know, babe. I don't know. We're not dealing with, people that clearly do their own research or understand what the hell is going on, Oh, hell no. You're going to have to tell me where, Emily, because if that's not okay. That's not all right. We don't do that. That's not, see, this is what I mean. Well, we have a Joy, but it's definitely not the same Joy. We have a Joy who's a lawyer and she pops in every once in a while like she did the other day, but definitely not the same one that would be bashing you. Ooh, Joan, you hit the nail on the head. The manipulation, the pivoting, the whataboutisms is his favorite. Well, don't look at what I did. Don't look at the wiretapping that I did. It should have remained private, guys. That should have been private. What's so funny to me is if anyone else had wiretapped Karen Read, it would be the first story he talked about. He would talk about how much of a piece of crap that person is, how dare they, what they were going to do with it. He would have been saying all of those things about anyone else if it wasn't him that did it. And the fact alone that his little minions skip right over that part, completely skip over. It blows my fucking mind. It blows my mind that they will do anything to defend the indefensible, right? Anything to fit the narrative of he's a victim in some way, right? You never ask yourself, the man can't always be a victim of everyone, and everything is a cover up and everything is a setup. At some point, you have to use the 2 brain cells you have left, right? Rub them together and go clear and think for yourself instead of being told what to think using brainwashing techniques of repeating things over and over and over until other people repeat it for you. That's the same shtick he's been using for 10 years, long before the Karen Read case ever existed. If you disagree with him, he will literally tell you to go die in a hole, all right? Does that sound like someone who isn't unhinged and needs some serious help? I mean, come on. People can come here and disagree with me, and if they want to troll, I just bounce them. I don't tell them to go, die in a hole. I mean, that's weird. I don't know them. And I fully believe that some of these people, because they do, in turn, figure out what the hell is going on. Then they come back to me later on, a year, 6 months, 3 months, whatever. They send me a message, or they have someone else send me a message and ask if I can unblock them. Then they'll send me a message and say, Elise, I'm so sorry. I don't know how I didn't see it before. Now I see it. Now I realize it. I'm ashamed of the things I said and did. I want to apologize for anything that I said about you. I can't believe I didn't understand what he was doing and how he was doing it. But now that I have stepped outside of it, it is so abundantly clear that you can't look away from it and you can't pretend that that's not what's happening, right? And so I do have faith that a lot of these people figure it out on their own eventually. It just sometimes takes a really long time. In some of these people's cases, it's been years. It's been years, And that's the bingo. His opinion is the only one that matters. His First Amendment rights are the only ones that matters. Everyone else it's harassment and stalking. Come on. And that's another lie. His intervention was no way to help her get more donations because the Alberts and McCabe's are outspending them. Maybe the Alberts and McCabe's are outspending them because there are actual people who didn't speak up on social media that were disgusted with the behavior that the O'Keefes and everyone else received. These are, the family members of a victim who died, and this man is calling Peggy O'Keefe the C word, right? And children, the C word. Like, who does that? That's not normal. That's unhinged behavior. That's not someone who is okay upstairs. You know what I'm saying? And that's exactly what he did, right? So, but this is the narrative, Jim, and you hit the nail on the head, right? Which is he'll get on here and say it was intervention. It's to help her raise more money. While out of the other side of his mouth during the live /spaces being like, she doesn't deserve any donation. She spent it all on 5-star hotels and meals, which I don't disagree with. I mean, that doesn't scream someone who's poor if you're spending over $100 grand on hotels when you could stay at the house that you still owned or your parents' house. I mean, come on. But nonetheless, I digress. He speaks out of both sides of his mouth. And the problem is these people eat it right up. They don't call him out and go, well, wait a second. Hold on. What you're saying doesn't make sense there, Aiden, because you just said the other night she doesn't deserve any donations and she's bad because she did this, and this. But you get on and Billy Hot Mics and you're saying it's a way to make her money. Like, stop it. It's a way to make him money. All he cares about is that. Come on, stop it. I also left a comment because I was just like, is this real life? Like, is this real life? So I feel you, Mish. I feel you, my friend. Also, I don't know if you were here. I don't know, it must have been last week or days ago when you sent a donation in, and I think it was after the stream ended, so I read it the next day. So I just wanted you to know I appreciated that. And I don't know if you were here, if you were just listening or not, but I just wanted to say thank you again. I appreciate it. Well, that's the thing, right? Like, turtle derangement syndrome isn't a thing. You know what I mean? I don't think he'll get probation. I honestly do think he would get some time. I don't think probation would be an option at this point. Yeah, that's just sad. That's sad. They're all obsessed because they don't. Right? I love when they talk about my looks because I'm like, once again, I'm not an ugly girl, so I just laugh at you. See, that's a problem, though. You can't rely on your. I don't have a producer, right? Most people don't. I'm the producer, right? I'm the goddamn producer. And I do have help. I don't do everything alone. People like Jesse and Scorpio and Wallflower and a lot of you will send me things that I can go and look at and do my own research on. And so y'all help me out in that way. And I appreciate that more than I could probably express in words. But I could never just rely on someone and what they're telling me. I have to, just in my own brain, I have to look at it myself and I have to like take it in myself. Like you guys point me to something and I go to it and then I have to do the research on it. I can't just be like, okay, that's it. That's the end of it. I have to do my own research on it just the way my brain works. I can't imagine just relying on that. It doesn't make sense, you know? And half of the problem is, again, Billy Bush doesn't know what he's talking about. A lot of the shit he says just isn't, it's flat out wrong, not true. And the part that he acts like he knows what's going on here in Massachusetts, like, bud, you don't live here. You don't actually know, right? You're relying on people like this douche nozzle here to tell you, you know? And that douche nozzle does nothing but lie. So that's a great person to fucking rely on. And the way that Billy Bush praises the turtle, I'm just like, this is disgusting. I can't. You're calling the man a journalist who has no journalistic ethics whatsoever. Skips right over the parts of him calling Peggy O'Keefe the C word and everything else. Calls nothing out that he doesn't like, just all praise. And it's like, why don't you kiss the ring like you already have? You want Karen to kiss the ring. Why don't you kiss it as well, sir? Come on, Billy, you know? So, like, why? But why is that a problem? You know what I mean? Why is it a problem that you come here? Because this is the only chat, and as far as I can see on YouTube, that will take dissenting opinions, allow people to have a civil discussion about it without immediately being attacked. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. No? I'm just saying. We have plenty of civil discussions in here. I have both sides of the Karen Read case in my chat. You guys are still like a family because you can agree to disagree on a case and still love each other. And I love that. I am so proud of that. That is one of the biggest things I'm proud of on my channel, right? And so why is it a problem? No offense, but I find Brother Counsel to be disingenuous as well. Listen, if you're just saying shit for likes and views, you're disingenuous in my book. And I know that people who practice law know better than some of the things they're fucking saying. Now you can say, oh, you're not an attorney, Elise. How would you know? Me. You all said the same thing when it came to Nan, and look how that worked out for her. Just saying, all right? I knew right away what she had done was wrong, unethical, breaks, professional rules of conduct. And all she had to say was, oh, no, it doesn't. And everyone believed her. Well, she's an attorney and you're not. Someone actually commented on my video yesterday and was like, oh, so you know more than Attorney Bradle? Well, seems like I do. No, doesn't it? I mean, what he was saying to the judge yesterday was fucking insane. Like, come on, man. Why does it matter? I'm proud to be part of Twisted Tragedies crew, and I know a lot of you are as well. So I take that as you're just jealous. You're just mad that people can have civil discussions and not hate each other for no reason. It's crazy. Well, good for you. Good for you, girl. Good for you. Good for you for being like, you know what? Fuck off. I actually like that, chat, so you can just fuck off. I know. Listen, I don't know. StreamYard and me are going to have to fight. I honestly think my computer is like disconnecting from the Wi-Fi. And the problem is, I think that's must be part of the problem, because when I disconnect and reconnect to it, when it starts to buffer, it's fine. But I'm like, how could that be happening, right? And so, I don't know. You can Ethernet it, but my router is all the way in the back of the house. So, I don't know. I'd have to get a really, really long Ethernet cord and run it up the wall and around the top. And, I mean, I might have to do that at some point if that's what it keeps doing, and just use the wired internet and Ethernet it. Oh, you know what I'm saying? And that's cool. That's what you should be doing, Emily. That's exactly what you should be doing. Asking questions and checking stuff out for yourself. I ask people to do that all the time. Check it out for yourself. Do your own research. Do it. That is the best thing that you can do, No, I'm not an asshole. Most people know that. Most people who know me know that, right? I give everybody a chance. I'm not an asshole. I like to believe the best in people, Well, they love to try to do that to people who come here. They do it all the time. It's a way to try to like poo-poo or shame them. Like, But most people are just like, fuck off. I'm not ashamed to be. I'm actually very proud to be in that chat and I'm a part of that channel. You know what I mean? But the only reason that they poo-poo it is because the turtle told them to. I mean, that's the sad part. That's literally the sad part, you know? It is tribal. It's cult-like, no? God forbid you be in that chat. Like, all right. I don't blame them either, because you can't, there's no, like I said, that's why we really can't cover what's happening in court for the Farwell stuff, because once it's federal, there's no cameras in federal court. There is no cameras in federal court. So you can't turn it into content, really. I mean, you can talk about it, but you can't play anything from inside, you know? Not everybody wants to make a YouTube channel. So I love when people criticize mine, because I'm like, well, what are you doing on your YouTube channel? Oh, you don't have one. So shut the fuck up and I'll run my channel the way I want to run it, right? And yes, this is the very first fundraiser for the other side. They've never asked for a fucking thing, you know? And he's definitely bothered about how much. Yeah, that's for sure, you know? That's exactly it, Amber. He does not do well with people who dissent. And there was something that he says later that you guys are gonna hear here, where when Aiden gets off, Billy says something along the lines of, oh, well, Turtleboy doesn't care if the comment section is telling him to go fuck himself. And I'm like, that's where you're wrong, sir. He very much does care. He spends a lot of the day looking at dissenting opinions about him and trying to combat the people that make those dissenting opinions with his fake sock accounts. Like, what are you talking about? This is my point. Billy Bush, you don't know this guy and you don't know the shit that he does. So by saying he doesn't care, he is a self-proclaimed very insecure, right? He's self-proclaimed very insecure. He very much cares when a comment section is telling him to fuck himself. And that bothers him enough that he gets on fake accounts and tries to change the narrative around. It's what he does. So the fact that Billy Bush made that comment in this stream that we're going to watch here was mind-blowing to me. It just goes to show that he has really no idea who he's dealing with at all. You know, and that means he didn't do his research, you know? Smash the like button. Jessie says she knows you didn't do it. When I chatter at JFK and TV is called like Karen Read derangement syndrome. They have like everything derangement syndrome at this point, you know? Yeah, no, I don't think he would get probation. I agree with you. I think he would get some time. I don't know how much, but I do think he would get some time. I think it's beyond probation. It might have been probation in the beginning, but he has gone far beyond that at this point, you know? I mean, his voice doesn't bother me. It's just not checking his information, you know? Oh, hey, girl. Tell her I send my love back. He absolutely should be charged. If you knew everything I knew, you would say the same thing. He absolutely 100% should be fucking charged. He should be charged with a lot more than he's even charged with. Blackmail. Listen, there's so much shit that I've told you guys that like has evidence to it that he hasn't been charged with yet. And I'm shocked because blackmail is illegal. Extortion is illegal. Trying to pay people to lie for you in court and make fake affidavits, also illegal. Just saying, having people lie for you in court and commit perjury under promises of buying them a lawyer and helping them with this and this, also illegal. These are things he does, you know? Of course, and that's sad, you know? It's a very large, well, that's the thing, right? Entertainment. It's not entertainment. This is people's real lives, and that's the problem, right? Is that, sure, they can call it entertainment all they want, but there are real fucking people behind this. There's a real lives that are being affected. It's not just entertainment, you know? Oh yeah, that's what they do. They'd spend hours and hours hate watching my streams and like reading the chat like weirdos. Have at it, dumbasses. Have at it. You know? And I do believe that you know, New Jersey is not fucking around with him for that at all. They're not. Yeah, there's not enough. I mean, I'm not a fan of his at all. You know, can't say I am. Sorry. That is a paranoid obsession. All right. Let's get back to this. They don't want to lose viewers, right? That is the bottom line. And I 100% agree with you. And I know way back when I did that I was taking a very large risk, but my choices were not tell the truth and let him shit on me for no real reason, or tell everybody what really fucking happened, right? I chose to tell people what really fucking happened. They can choose to believe me or not. I don't give a fuck either way, right? Do I want to grow my channel? Absolutely. Does that hinder it? Absolutely it does. His crap hinders it? 100% it does. But I'm not going to be disingenuous simply to get subscribers and viewers. Like, I'm me and all of my faults, right? I am human and imperfect, and it's who I am, right? And the people that know that or know me will be here. And the people that don't and are blinded by hate that he lets them pull out that's misplaced, eventually they'll also figure it out, you know? Same. It's always different, but I'm sure Peter must have people who recognize that his actions are not normal. Yeah, the deprogramming is a real thing. People that take weeks and even months to deprogram from some of the, like, they will still, even after realizing how shitty he is, will take weeks or months to stop subconsciously automatically defending him. I kid you not. You can ask Amber. She knows what I'm talking about. It literally takes months, weeks of deprogramming from this shit. All right? It's weird. They do deserve each other. I don't know if it's Cosgrove who's pursuing it. As far as I know, I don't think it is Cosgrove specifically. I think it's someone else. But yeah, he can't be an advocate of it. He doesn't know how to be an advocate. Happy Wednesday. All right. He does have his minions do a lot of the work. Let's make that clear. With the fake accounts, and he does it himself too. I will. After this, I will do the Cosgrove documents after this. I'm sure he was during this interview extorting her. That doesn't shock me in the least bit. It's exactly what he does. He wants her to do these shows with him so that he can make money. It has nothing to do with her. It's all about the money and the fame. It always has been. Always has been. Oh, his ego is always hurt. And then he goes into Delulu land, you know? I agree with Lou that I think they should have found someone younger, more hip to the internet. You know, Cosgrove, I don't think understands that, like, evidence is coming every single day and you have to keep on top of it. The dude doesn't even really know how to use a thumb drive. That's a problem if you're doing a case that has to do with the fucking internet. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's why I'm not a fan, you know? They didn't deserve any of it. Of course they didn't, you know what I mean? Like, why? They're like, why are they getting the hate? For what reason? You know? It's crazy. Bingo, Michael. That's a very good point. The people who trash talk me don't even have a picture of themselves up. And I'm not ashamed of a goddamn fucking thing. You want to know why? Because I own my mistakes and the things that I did in my past. Like, I was an addict, right? I was an addict. That's a fact. All right. I had to figure out what was making me use to begin with, right? And it was a lot of trauma, a lot of childhood sexual assault, a lot of assault and abuse in foster care. I have a lot of trauma from a young age, and I was trying to bury it, that pain that you live with every single fucking day. And I can proudly say that I turned my life around, right? I might not be rich, right? But I have my family, my children, my husband, and I thank every day for them, right? Every single day I thank for them. I try to be as open and honest with you guys as I can, without, putting my safety or my family's safety at risk. And at the same time, know that I refuse to, and it's probably from my past experiences. Like, I've been with a narcissist and an abuser. I know what they look like, right? I know the shit that they do, which is why I can easily sort of nail down exactly what Aiden's going to do before he's even going to fucking do it. But it's sad to watch how many content creators will jump on the back of it for the money and the views and the clicks. Listen, I could choose the money, definitely, for sure. I work paycheck to paycheck like anyone else, and I don't make much. Contrary to popular belief, Jesse will tell you. I literally showed her what my check next month will look like from YouTube, and it's less than $500. All right. So my point is I refuse to just get on here and say shit that might be popular because it might get me more views. I'm not fucking doing it. I refuse to do it. If that's the case and that's who I need to be and I can't just be me, then that's a fucking problem. I'm going to be me. I learned a long time ago that love me or hate me, right? For anyone, you should just be you. Do not try to change yourself for anyone, for any reason, right? Work on yourself, right? We all have things that we do that are probably annoying or whatever. So you work on yourself, but you don't just do shit because people want to hear it, right? That's not, you give your honest, truthful opinion, and that's the best you can do, right? People might not like the opinion, but you gave it, and it was honest and it was truthful. What they choose to do with it, that's their fucking business, right? They can choose to believe me. They can choose to not believe me. I really don't give a shit one way or another. And that's the difference. Aiden needs his ego fed by these people. He needs it. A narcissist needs their ego fed constantly. It's never enough. I don't need my ego fed. My husband feeds it just fine. I don't need my ego fed. I like coming here because I like all of you, right? I like people. I'm a people person. I always have been. I always will be. I like helping people. I like being a part of doing something good for this world, because when I die, that dash in between the date I was born and the date that I died is your life, right? That dash is your life. And I want that dash to mean something. I want my children to say, my mom did this, this, and this, and I want to do those things as well, because she helped make the world a little tiny bit better. Because when I leave this earth, I would like it to be a little better than it is now for my children and my one day grandchildren. You leave the world a little better than you came into it. At least you try. If everyone did a little bit and did their part, we'd live in a much kinder, gentler, less shittier world, Right, exactly. Thank you, Beach Dance. I appreciate that. Right, see? Right, you're deprogramming. I kid you not. It's a real fucking thing. All right. Oh, yeah, he wanted a pat on the back. He said that, here, we'll play it, okay? Yeah, he wants to argue with each other just because it would make money. And people are not understanding that it's all about money. They're still just listening to what he's saying, and it's like, Karen bad, attack, attack, attack. Now replace Karen with anyone, you, me, anyone else. It's the same thing over and over and over and over and over, right? It is literally the same thing. I am proud of myself. I'm very proud of myself, and I'm very proud of my chat and the people who come here. And anybody saying, oh my God, you're part of Twist and Tragedies chat, you should tell them to fuck off, that you're proud to be here, because people can have conversations here where they cannot have those in other places without being attacked. If you're attacking the way someone looks or the way they sound, or if they drive a car, or if they have a car, or if they're poor, or if they're rich, you've lost the argument, because now you're not arguing the argument. You're just throwing out insults. You have lost the argument if that is where you're going. I am blessed. I have my family, and that's what most important. Believe me, I know from firsthand experience. I've lost a lot of people in my life, right? Most importantly, my dad. And there are so many times when I wish my dad was here, even to give me as an adult a life lesson, So definitely also cherish your dads, and your moms while they're there. Oh, I'm sorry, you don't feel good standing. Okay, let me play this, and then I'll keep reading these comments and putting them on the screen. But I want to finish. Where the hell is it? God damn. Oh, for the love of God, where'd it go? All right.
Us here, because this is not working. Like your marketing strategy right now isn't working.
Well, let me ask you quick. I mean, do you get the sense, since you have your finger on the pulse of what's going on, do you get the sense that there is some type of new life for the McAlberts, who we all, I think most people in the area believe are guilty or certainly not innocent from that evening?
Yeah, I mean, that's Turtleboy derangement syndrome money. Like, that's all that is. That's just like pure dislike of both me and Karen Read. That's where all that money's coming from.
Yeah, okay.
And, you know, people have been...
And is that a large population in the area? How many percent, what's the percentage of people do you think that are so sick of you and her and hate the two of you that they want to give money to the McAlberts?
Like, that's insane.
Well, it's not just a local thing. You know, this is a national story. So, like, they have people you know, I would say
I don't know.
15% of the population, maybe. You know, 50, like, maybe 20 on a good day. But you know, you got some people giving $1,500 here, $1,000 here, you know, this and that, and so they're like, it's just a big F you to me and Karen. That's all that is. But you know, it's a free country. People can donate to whatever they want. But I guess my point was that, like, that should be a wake up call to Karen. If you're getting outraised by the McAlberts, and, like, you know, it's just not there anymore. The buzz with you isn't there anymore. And we just needed to go over, like, how we got here.
From you,
because back in the day, it was no problem. Like, she raised $1.1 million, and we need to go over the steps that got us here and maybe reevaluate some things that we're doing.
Okay. This is what's tragic. There shouldn't be a rift between the two of you at all. Do you guys? Look. You know, you said you've destroyed your reputation because of your hatred for me.
Bingo.
You can't fucking get over it. You got Turtleboy derangement syndrome. Are you not naive, blind, stupid? Would it be? What is it that you want from her? How do you want her to behave? Other than, would you like her to just kiss the ring and say, I would never have been able to do this without you, Lord Turtleboy. I am here. I am your disciple. Thank you for everything you have done. Or, hey, everybody, I want to actively say, give money right now to the Turtleboy Defense Fund because he's got, you know, a mountain he's facing, 90 years in jail, maybe. What is it you want from her?
I don't want anything from her. I mean, I don't need it. I don't need it.
It doesn't sound like it. It sounds like you do want. You're pissed.
Oh, no, you misunderstand the point of the stream. But, it was an intervention. What you need to hear right now, and that's ever since your acquittal.
And we, like, buffered, but you guys need to hear this part, because for once in Billy Mike's hot life, he actually hits the nail on the head where he's like, I don't want anything from her, and he's like, well, it sounds like you do, and that's exactly right. He can say so many times, I don't want anything from her. I don't need anything from her. I'm not expecting anything from her. Blah, blah. But that's just a bold-faced lie. And anybody who's been listening and watching knows that that's a bull. You can say I didn't punch someone in the face while actively punching someone in the face. Doesn't mean you didn't punch someone in the face. And this is something that he often does, which is punch someone in the face, metaphorically, right? And then tell his audience, well, I didn't actually punch them in the face. What happened was my fist got close and they moved their face to my fist, right? Change the narrative to make it their fault some way, somehow. See, what you guys didn't see, and what you like, I'm going to tell you the story later. It'll be amazing. I can't tell you now, but I'll tell you later. If I had a penny for every time you said that in the last 10 years, I'd be fucking rich, right? But their face got close to my fist. So really it's their fault because they moved forward, right? He changes the narrative, right? He can say he doesn't want anything from Karen Read, but that's abundantly clear that he does.
So they're like, it's just a big F you to me and Karen. That's all that is. But, you know, it's a free country.
Wait, let me see.
You isn't there anymore. And we just needed to go over, like, how we got here. Like, because back in the day, it was no problem. Like, she raised $1.1 million, and we need to go over the steps that got us here and maybe reevaluate some things that we're doing.
Okay. This is what's tragic. There shouldn't be a rift between the two of you at all. Do you guys? You make.
I have so many isms.
You know, you said you've destroyed your reputation because of your hatred for me. You can't fucking get over it. You got Turtleboy derangement syndrome. Are you not naive, blind, stupid? Would it be? What is it that you want from her? How do you want her to behave? Other than, would you like her to just kiss the ring and say, I would never have been able to do this without you, Lord Turtleboy. I am here. I am your disciple. Thank you for everything you have done.
Very gullible.
Hey, everybody, I want to actively say, give money right now to the Turtleboy Defense Fund because he's got, a mountain he's facing, 90 years in jail, maybe. What is it you want from her?
I don't want anything from her. I mean, I don't need it. I don't need
it. Doesn't sound like it. It sounds like you do want. You're pissed.
Oh no, you misunderstand the point of the stream. But it was an intervention stream. It was like telling Karen, like you need to wake up. So nobody is telling you what you need to hear right now. And that's ever since your acquittal, you've made a series of bad choices that have led to the place where the McAlberts are out raising you 10-1. And no one, I don't know if no one in inner circle is telling you this, or if you're just ignoring the good advice, but you need to hear it. And I think a lot of people agree. I mean, she has basically declared war on me. And, because of a personal feud between her and I.
I haven't heard her say a thing. I'd like to, who on radio?
You must not watch what we call JFK Hood Booker Talk Radio. There's this a YouTube channel called JFK Show that she went on and just started trashing me and other YouTube content creators who raised substantial amounts of money for her, and has basically told us I don't need you anymore. Like I'm the king. And she told me on the phone when I talked to her last. She told me that I made you who you are. You're nothing without me. You want me to thank you? How about you thank me for once? I made you. I gave you this story. And so it's just like, and last time I was on your show, you asked me, like, are you guys friends? And I'm like, I'm not going to lie.
Exactly,
like,
Joe.
No, we're not friends. I covered her story, and that's it. And she didn't like that. And it was just like, and I haven't heard from her since. So this was like a personal thing between her and I that should have remained private, and she chose to go on various YouTube streams and just trash me, and I didn't really say a word back, but people saw it, and I have a lot of supporters, and people saw that, and they didn't appreciate the way what she was saying, and that was kind of the whole point of the stream, is like, this is why you're not getting, this is why you're losing 10-1 with Alberts, is because don't go on a stream and trash me. And that's not good. That's not going to help your cause. Like you said, we should be united. That's what the people want. But
she didn't go on the show.
Hurting herself, in my opinion.
She said very few things in chat.
If you're advising her, or you don't say you're friends, but how does she get out of it? What's the best thing for her to do?
Tell you to fuck yourself.
Make some sort of public statement saying, I support the charges against Turtleboy are complete bullshit, and he has my unconditional support because he supported me during my darkest time. That would go a long way with a lot of people, I think.
Ego.
Meaning?
No, with him.
Witness intimidation is not what Turtleboy is guilty of.
That's
investigating witnesses. I don't see why she would have a problem saying that, although she probably doesn't know exactly the ins and outs of what you did. But I mean,
she knows all about the ins and outs of her. She's well aware of, about all the charges against me. Her and I used to talk.
The charges. What are they? Does she know everything that Cosgrove has? We don't know that yet, right? Because he hasn't really. You got a hearing on Friday, December 5th, right?
Yeah, we have a motion to dismiss that day,
But she could say, "I support this man who supported me."
Sad.
Yeah, that's all it would take. I'm not saying I want that.
His identity.
What I'm saying is that would help her brand. That would help her. That would go along. I think that would get her back in the public good, in my opinion, as opposed to going on whenever she talks, it's something negative about me, and it just doesn't have to be that way.
It's the truth. And
this is our politics in America. This is like a microcosmic look at our politics in America, where we live in this world where one thing entirely on one side has to be true, or one thing on the how I see it. Is both things are true. She brought your attention to me and many other people in the national media, this case, but the way you did it and the way you rode that horse is what made it so effective. All those people sitting out there in the pink shirts, they were rallied by you.
He's being dragged by the horse belly.
Journalism, the kind of which you have the testicular fortitude to present.
Yeah.
To get that there. And Karen's case was so perfect in that it hit the nerve of every woman, every family member that, oh my God, this shit could happen to me. And this corruption in Massachusetts is real and it's happening. You guys, whether you like each other or not, are bedfellows.
100%.
Sure are.
We should be. That's what I've always said. We should be a.
Not that I know of, won't be.
You talk to her, right? I mean, that's not just public. I know you guys have private conversations. They must be like heated.
Oh, we haven't talked since last time I came on your show. That was the last time we spoke.
So
have you
afraid.
texted with her?
I've attempted a few weeks ago. I sent her a text and I said, "Do you want to squash this?" And it was unreturned. So it's best I can do.
Does the Bushman have to fly into the Beacon Theater and
you can try? I mean, Melanie Little has tried. Other people have tried playing intervention. It's just not working. And I don't think, like I said, I don't think there's any putting the band back together at this point. But like what people want, and the reason that money isn't being raised is that like people sacrifice. They gave a lot of money, $1.1 million. They rally, blah blah blah. And they haven't gotten any sort of public statement from her. Like, if I were her, I would have put out a video thanking my supporters, everyone who donated, because you can't. Okay, all these people came together. They raised all this money. They helped save your life. They kept you out of jail, etc. And in return, they haven't gotten a thank you. And now you're just like, hey, give me some more money. And like that, putting out a fundraiser the other day asking for $500,000 was just so tone deaf. It's like you haven't said, not to me, screw me. Everybody else that was out there, a lot of people sacrificed for this, and a lot of people are like, yeah, I don't feel the same way. Like, good luck, best of luck to you, but you're not facing any time in jail, and now you want $500,000. All set. We have other cases that we could rather give our resources to, like Turtleboy's or Kelsey Fitzsimmons' case. People that are facing serious time in jail. And it's just bizarre because like. It's the same people that tried to put her in jail. Like, we should be uniting against these people. That's what they want, No,
he wants the money.
You should be uniting, and I think you will. I honestly think you will. I think there's too much. I mean, this may just be a moment in the arc of your relationship with Karen Read, which is real. There's no denying that the two of you together, you're stronger together than you are apart. I believe in that, and I believe that something has to happen here between the 100%. Two of you, and I think you should reach. I don't think that people have turned entirely on Karen Read. That would be unbelievable, and the money she wants.
They have, and I see people saying in the chat that she has thanks supporters. When did I miss that? Because I saw briefly on the courthouse steps afterwards that she said, I just want to thank all my supporters, but also none of this would be possible without me. I am the reason for the season.
Do you feel like she's holding cards, like, as far as to what her plans are and what she's doing? Do you think she should be just a little more open about, hey, this is where we are right now. This is what because she's got a big, you must be supportive of the fact that she has turned and filed her own civil case in the affirmative to go after these people who clearly, we all believe, framed her, set her up.
100%. I'm Team Karen Read still. I'm rooting for her. I want her to win. Take down the McAlberts, do what you got to do. But the whole purpose of the stream was just kind of explain to her what apparently no one is telling her is like the reason you're losing 10-1 in the fundraising game is because you've made a series of bad choices since your acquittal, and here's how it could be remedied. Right. Here's how it can be fixed. So, it's like people saying they support Karen. I support Karen, but people aren't giving their money. And that's the problem.
That's exactly what he's pissed off about.
But they've already given so much, right? $1 million. Now
he's pissed off because they offered him like all that money per episode, Ernie Bach, and that was contingent on him bringing Karen. And because Karen won't do it, and he's begged, pleaded, sent other people to ask her to do it, and she has said no. That is what he's so mad about. The money that he can't make without her. I don't know why that's not abundantly clear to everyone else. It should be, but that is his real gripe. Is A, he wants everyone donating to his defense fund, and B, all of the money he could make with her. Without her, man, right? But with her, way more money. That's what he wants. He wants her to work with him, even if they don't like each other, for the money. Simply for the money. That's it. That's literally it. And the fact that he now admits that they did PR. He did PR. Him and all of his minions did PR. Him and his other content creators did PR. Well, I thought you were a journalist and you were covering a story. You can't be a journalist covering the story and do PR. Those two things don't intermingle. So which is it? Are you a journalist covering the story, or are you fucking PR? Sir, you cannot be both. It just doesn't work like that. You can argue that you could be an advocate and a journalist. Cool, yeah, you could. But you certainly cannot be a PR and a journalist. Not two things that go together. PR can lie and spin. Journalists have ethics, which he does not have. Oh, yeah, he had already cashed that check in his brain and knew where he was spending it. And I promise you it wasn't to help a single other person but himself, because that's who he is. You know, come on. It's ridiculous.
And they would be inclined to give more if they felt appreciated. I'm telling you, like, that's how a lot of people feel.
He would.
You know, and I can't, and it's like,
if he felt
whether or not that's validated or not, whether or not is regardless. Like, as a marketing person, you have to look at that and say, well, this is what they want, so you got to give it to them. You know, if or else you're going to get out fundraised by the McAlberts 10-1.
Well, overall, the $1 million that they've raised so far, she's blowing them out across the board. I mean, if you look at the latest round, I mean, you know, what she's asking for now, but she's got to pay these people. She's got all these experts that need to come back out. That money goes to pay them, I assume. I mean, you got to pay all these.
That's the other thing. The transparency about it is just like, just give me $500,000. It's like, people are like, what for? Like, what is insurance paying this? Like, last time it was very clear. People wanted to give last time because an innocent woman was facing life in jail, right? We saw it in front of our eyes. We saw that ARCA costs a shitload of money. We saw that all these people need to be paid. We saw that. And now it's just like, people are unclear because it's like, are they not working on a contingency? Is insurance not paying for this? People just have questions. And like, it's about being transparent. And people would probably feel a lot more comfortable. And because there was no like announcement from her, like, hey guys, I could really use your support. It was just Nick Rocco posting a link in a Facebook group saying, hey, pony up. And people are like, yeah, I'm all set.
Well, they've given a lot of money so far. I mean, how many people are there? You're asking for now, it's going to be $1.5 million. But did you feel it? You felt passionate about defending this woman who was framed by, law enforcement and people we should trust. And now this woman wants to go and make them pay and put them on the hook for what actually happened. Do you support that as much? Maybe people feel like
daily.
Yeah.
Not as much. We saved you. You've been acquitted. But now, maybe people are scared of the takedown of the law enforcement structure in Massachusetts. No, it's overwhelming to see that happen in your community.
Billy, it's because she's not facing time in jail anymore. Like, that's why people donated last time, because they don't want to see an innocent person go to jail. It's just people don't have the same fervor for it. She's freed. We freed Karen Read. She doesn't want anything to do with him. And he can't facing 90 years in jail because I freed Karen Read. And people are like, yeah, like the general sentiment in the comments was, I'd rather give my money to Turtleboy right now. And because like, I'm the one that's facing jail time. And if he had that's real smart. Put out some sort of statement saying that she supported me, I bet you a lot more people would have her back right now.
How much do you need?
Me? I mean, I think
he can't answer this.
The bill keeps going up, obviously, because the longer this goes on, the longer they stall.
Transparency.
You don't want to know what I've paid. I could buy a whole new, more than my mortgage, that I've paid just in legal fees. And you don't get any of that back when you're acquitted or the charges are dropped, So every dollar helps, goes to the Bettero Fund, because he's a New York attorney. I got to get him, pay to get him up here every time. Obviously pay for his time because it's extremely valuable. So, I don't know how much I'll need. The bill keeps going up.
I mean, is it like a couple, is it 100? Is it up in the millions area?
Not millions, give it to him. But we're talking total. When this is all done, I have paid more probably for my legal defense than Karen has for her legal fees. Like, let's just put it that way.
You've spent more of your own money.
Like what I'm saying is, like, I believe it's been pretty public. I think she had a flat fee with Alan and David. I think it was like 200, something like that. Like, we're over that. Let's put it that way.
Look, if she were to say, right now, you've painted her into a corner, right? Karen's a tough, Boston chick. You are a tough Boston man. I mean, you guys should be here in the same section.
Let's just stop that for 1 second. I'm going to throw this out there. Okay? He is not a tough Boston anything. Okay? He's not a tough Boston anything. He's a leech. He is a waste of oxygen. He is sucking in everyone else's oxygen. Karen didn't go on JFK's show and trash him. She said a couple of things in chat, answered questions, okay, that were valid and true. He didn't free anyone. Let's make that clear, right? All right. Why is he so pathetic? Girl, I don't know, but it's very clear, and it is pathetic, and it's sad, but he is not a tough Boston dude. All right. Sorry, hot Mike's Billy. That is just a false statement all around. He's a telephone tough guy, a gangster bitch Barbie, a keyboard warrior in real life, right? If you run your mouth, where I'm from here in Massachusetts and from the city, you're able to back that up, right? He can't back shit up. He would fold like a wet paper bag, okay? Like a plastic fucking chair. Boop. He's not tough in any sense of the word. He goes home and he cries like a baby back bitch, okay? He pretends like he doesn't care, but he does. We know this because I'm seeing the private messages because people share them after he sends them, and it's a whole shit show. But the point is he's not a tough anything. There's nothing tough about him. He's a whiny, petulant child that spins his own narrative and lies constantly like he breathes. And I would like him to stop stealing my fucking oxygen, right? Get your small pizza instead of your large pizza, and donate to the defense funds for Turtleboy and Karen, right? Like, he did not spend more. That's a lie, okay? He couldn't give Billy a number because he didn't spend any of his own money. All that money has come from other fucking people paying for it, and he doesn't actually know. So he can't give a number. There's a reason why he danced around. Why can't you just give a number? Transparency and all, right? You know? Well, if it's moved to federal court, yeah, but that's the civil trial stuff. They would have to indict or charge her federally separately, like from the civil suit. It wouldn't she wouldn't go to jail from the civil suit being moved to federal. If an indictment was federal, sure. Or even if an indictment was state for witness defamation, sure. But it won't come from the civil suit. You won't see jail time from the civil suit. Yeah, he's not a tough fucking anything. We all know that. That's ridiculous. You know what I mean? That is utterly ridiculous. Well, that's the other thing. Why do the bills keep adding up, Aiden? Are they adding up because you're adding to them, maybe? I don't know. Maybe your actions are adding to them, sir. Just saying. He's not going to jail or facing charges because he freed Karen Read. That's just a bold-faced lie, okay? He chose to do everything that he did. No one told him to. No one, you know what I mean? Like, well, besides, to be fair, Karen did tell him to do some things. But, I mean, outside of that, no one else told him to do these things. He did it himself, okay? His ego gets more mad because he wants the response. He needs it. He feeds off the response. He's mad that she's not doing what he wants her to do when he wants her to do it, which is the same way he acts towards anyone else. Like I said, replace Karen's name with anyone else's. He does the exact same thing. The exact same thing. You know what I mean? The exact same thing. Oh, of course. Of course. You can say it's a joke all he wants. I fully believe he was in love with her and still probably is and is just lying. You know what I mean? Yeah, the civil lawsuit can be moved to federal. Like that's the whole point of what they're trying to do. But you won't see jail time out of a federal suit. Well, that's the other thing, right? If anyone else approaches him with the same energy that he puts out, he calls the cops. You remember, is it JLR or JRL? And he was across the street on the sidewalk with a bullhorn, I think, or even just yelling to Aiden. Aiden called the cops. Like, but I thought it was okay for people to do it, Aiden. You said it's just asking questions, but he's not allowed to ask questions. Only you are. You know what I'm saying? This is why I say he's not fighting for a First Amendment. He only cares about himself. All right? It's completely different. What he says and what he does are two separate, different things. Okay? What he says out of one side of his mouth is not what he's doing on the other side. Okay? Just know that. And also privately know that the things that he's saying publicly don't match with the things he's saying privately and doing privately. They just don't, and they never do. They never have. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? Well, people aren't just going to donate to Karen to shut him up. They're not going to do that either. I mean, he is right in one aspect where she's not facing any jail time, so people don't feel a need to donate to a civil suit that she chose. Like, first of all, she started a second civil suit while you're going through a first civil suit. If you need money for a first civil suit that you were being served with, you wouldn't start a second civil suit that would cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. So that's probably where it's got some people fucked up. Like, wait a second, why would I donate to something that you're choosing to do for a second time? Like, I'm not paying for that. That's on you. You know what I mean? There's a lot of different things that go into people's decisions to do things, you know? And always a hiding behind, well, I did it for Karen, or I did. And that was one of the things that Karen Read had a problem with. And she told him, stop telling people with your narrative that you did this for Karen Read, or you're going to jail because of Karen Read. That's not why. It's not why. It's part of the thing. She yelled at him in that full, I'll say you guys only heard the clips, but like the full wiretapped conversation between Aiden and Karen is she's yelling at him about that. Like, stop saying that. That's a narrative. That's not the truth, Aiden. You're not telling people the truth. You're telling them your narrative, your spin on things, right? Like, come on. I mean, here's the thing. The truth is the truth, right? And so to me, we know I don't like Karen. It's not that's not a secret, right? We all know that I don't like her. I think she's guilty. Like, that's not a secret to any of you, all right? But like I said before, and this goes for really anyone, what is the purpose of just bashing people into oblivion? It serves no purpose, right? It serves no purpose. I don't do it to anyone. Anyone. The only reason I call this man out is because he has hurt so many fucking innocent people. So many just regular, average people, because he got jealous or had some petty beef that they didn't lie for him. They didn't do what he wanted them to do when he wanted them to do it. Like, he controls everyone like a fucking puppet master. He doesn't have that kind of control over me or anyone else. And he's mad that he doesn't. So when people say no or do something he doesn't like, he attacks. Not because they're bad people, not because they did something horrible. That's the excuse he uses later on. And this is the part that people just don't compute. He doesn't start going after someone simply because they're bad, horrible people. That is not how it starts, ever. And back in the day, he was paid to do bad stories about people. Bad stories that even Jess Machado says were lies, right? She claims her whole article was lies. There was an article about Tom CPU. That was a bunch of lies, right? Why those two people still follow him and don't actively say, well, if his lies about me are out there, how many other lies could he tell? I don't know. That's their own problem up here, not mine. But the bottom line is he's been doing the same thing for fucking 10 years. Like, come on, you know? Come the fuck on. He does a lot of Darvo, a lot of fucking Darvo, a lot of it, you know? A lot of it. He gives himself way more credit, way more credit. Well, that's the thing. I don't ever think, and to keep it real, I'm going to keep it real with you. The first time he went to jail didn't teach him a goddamn fucking thing. And I do not believe it will ever teach him anything, even if he goes to jail again. I don't believe. I just don't. I'm sorry. The man is a narcissist. Narcissists don't magically change, with jail time or not, you know? You know? Yeah, civil has no jail time attached to it. Fees, fines, things like that, payouts, restitution, you're not going to see jail time in a civil suit. You know, I think if they do their job, then he absolutely should see jail time. You know, it bothers me that he doesn't have the same level of support that Karen did. That's a part of him that bothers him. That's why he wants to see some large crowds out there. Like, trouble. The problem is more people followed the Karen Read case and hated him still. So that level of support doesn't fucking exist for him, because he shows people on a daily basis what a shitty human being he is, you know? Right. I mean, the case is over. Like, we might not agree, but I hope at least some point people start to realize that they were fed a bunch of lies by him, and they sort of start back from the beginning and go, okay, hold on. Now that I know he lied about this thing and this thing and this thing, now I need to go back to the beginning and figure out what else he lied about and what else he spun to fit a narrative. Because when you go back, like I did, way, way back in 2023, you start to figure out some things aren't adding up, right? Just say, like, I don't get it. Yeah, he definitely sucks. We can definitely all agree there. And I'm not surprised because it's easier to be on his side than to be attacked by him constantly. And that is the theme, is that people will literally tell you privately, listen, I don't want to rock the boat. It's better if I just, pretend I like him than dealing with his bullshit. And I'm not going to say that it's not aggravating dealing with his bullshit, but he likes to assume that people like me actually give a fuck. I have been through hell and back in my life. I've walked over the fucking coals of fire and back. You, sir, are nothing and no one. You are this big to me. You mean absolutely nothing. Sorry, not sorry, with your little dinosaur arms and your, diary of a wimpy sewer turtle. To your diary, please. Please don't show my glasses. Karen doesn't like me anymore, and this isn't nice. I would like to make money at the Wilbur Theater. The Wilbur Theater. Lots of monies, okay? Because I'm Turtleboy. I'm Turtleboy, hear me roars, okay? I'm Turtleboy. And this is a diary of a wimpy sewer turtle, right? Dear diary, dear Karen Read. Like, that's it. He's like a child. He's like a fucking child, okay? It's sad. It's just sad, He is an awful human being. Oh, yeah, I know. I talked about that yesterday. And to be fair, I told everybody it was not AI and it was real, and people who didn't want to listen didn't want to listen. But I hope now that they realize that I was telling them the truth, that they now realize there's a lot of things I told you the truth about that he lied about. You can choose to believe me. You can choose not to. That's on you. But if you think that's the only thing he lied about to benefit himself, you got another fucking thing coming. Let's finish this.
Of Foxborough Stadium, beer in hand, going crazy for your team. You've painted her into a corner. Now she's like a raccoon trapped in a trash can, and you've got a broom. You got to give her a lane
ignorant
to say, I appreciate you, I support you, let's be stronger together. You got to give her an opening, right? What you did on Sunday, while you felt it from your heart, and that's your brand, and that's why you're good at what you do, she is painted into a corner a little bit. He does. And it's going to, look like, I told you. You were blind, stupid, and naive.
He doesn't know
what he's doing. And
now
you capitulated to me. How do you give her a welcome mat?
Well, let's not air it out.
She doesn't want it.
My proposal is, let's do a show at the Wilbur, me and Karen Read, where we just hash it all out. Lay it all out on the table. Thinking we could sell tickets for that. You could say whatever you want about me. You can crap on me. Give me, just give it to me. Say the things that annoy me, that annoy you about me. And we hash it all out. We both get paid off it. Everyone would want to watch that. Let's do it. Let's do it.
No, we will not.
I think I should come to keep the peace, and I will donate whatever comes my way to both funds equally, 50% each way. Because you guys have a bigger thing on your hand. I listen. I don't think that's a terrible idea. Honestly,
because that way she's not capitulating. That way she's not like kissing the ring. Like, you can let me have it, but let's at least talk. Let's have.
It's like The Bachelor after the final rose. The guy comes out and she comes out, and it's like, what happened? What went wrong? The one that didn't get chosen, and you have that tension.
My spotlights are giving me a headache.
Exactly. I mean, it would be great theater. Everyone would want to watch it. You love me, hate me, think she's innocent, guilty. Everyone and their mother would watch that. So let's do it, as opposed to just asking for handouts, which is what is essentially happening now.
So you do 24/7, buddy.
I wonder if she feels like making theater out of it would...
Oh, she opposes that. She opposes that, right, for sure. Karen Read hates theater, right? Come on.
Well, I mean, it's a serious thing. The civil trial that the ones that she's put forward.
It was the murder trial, and I made a whole lot of theater out of that, didn't I?
Bingo.
You did. Yeah. But can she be seen doing that? A Turtle Boy Karen coming together. She might see that. It might send the message that she's making too light of it.
Documentary. She never saw a microphone she didn't like speaking into. Why did she suddenly get so shy?
You know what, though? It could be, but it shouldn't just be about, a coming together. It should be about where do we go from here? It should be like a smart intellectual discussion about what's happened, where we've been, where we're going. And along the way, the message is obviously clear that the two of you are sitting down, together. So instead of making it about yourselves, it should be about the larger issue and how the two of you see it going forward.
Right. Like instead of instead of going on the JFK show and leaving snarky comments about me, say it to my face in front of people and we'll sell out the Wilbur doing it. Let's go. You can trash me all you want. Let's do it in front of a crowd. Let's go. And then we lay it all out. Like you said, we have a discussion. We have some sort of you can mediate it and then let's do it.
How does your wife like think?
I'm divorced.
Oh, I think you guys are in love.
No, trust me. Her and I were meant to be
there's
single.
so much sexual tension here. I can't. I think you're in love with her. I do.
I think he's in love with her. Definitely.
Her and I were both meant to be single.
She's very cute. She's
No one's going to deny that. No one's going to deny Karen Read's an attractive woman. I always said that. But her and I were meant to be single.
I would even say hot. I mean, very fit. She wears the pantsuit, the power suit.
Bingo.
Very intelligent. Obviously worked, very heavily on her own defense. And she, she worked in the investment world. She's a teacher. I think there's something here, man. I think we are going to do The Bachelor.
The Bachelor, Karen Read. There you go. The Bachelor.
Am I wrong? Am I dead wrong here? You don't feel anything for Karen?
It's of course it's not. It's no, you're dead wrong with that. I have absolutely no interest in her like that. But I'm not gonna lie and be like she's not attractive. Of course she's attractive. Like everyone can see that, but I'm not interested in her like that at all.
Let's just say this. Let's say it's a better night at the Waterfall or some other bar. Just every, a good night. None of this stuff had happened.
Gross.
And you're out there going to get your car, and there she is, and the whole thing, and you're underneath a street lamp together. Would you make out?
No, I wouldn't make. No, God, no. Come on, Billy. You're gonna get me in trouble. No, I'm good. I'm good these days. But
all right.
I don't think she would either. So we're good.
Let's see where this goes. But I think your next move is Olive Branch. You did what you had to do. You got it out.
Yep. Let's see what happens.
All right.
Anyway, thanks for having me on, Billy.
You're a great man. Unbelievable talent. Thanks, bud.
Likewise. Talk to you later.
Gross. Just saying.
That was fascinating.
No, it wasn't.
Wow.
It was gross.
Steve, your thoughts?
Well, at the end there, it was kind of like setting up a WWF fight or WWE fight. He's like, this is what we do. And he's getting this side all riled up, this side, and then you're going to watch
the money for the collaboration.
He has a promotional. He has a he's a showman. You know what I mean? Like he's a real showman.
He's a clown.
Sure. And he's got and don't take this the wrong way, but there's a Trump-esque quality that knows where people are, right? And
it's not about knowing where the people are, Billy Hot Mics. It's knowing how to try to blackmail, threaten, and shame people into doing what you want. See, that's where you got shit wrong there, bud.
And what they want, and he's a provocateur. You know what I mean? It's also why he's so effective as a journalist, and he's got,
he's not a journalist.
There is no journalist. What he did.
No, he's not a journalist, sir.
For her, on her behalf.
What he did for her.
It was extraordinarily effective.
No. He did it for himself. Make no fucking mistake about that. He did not do it for her. He did it for the clout, for the praise, for the love, for the money, for the views, for the clicks. He did not do it for her because he gave a fuck about her. He's incapable of giving a fuck, an actual fuck, about anyone. That is a solid fact, okay? Narcissists do not have the ability to care about anyone. So he announces to the world that Karen Read trashed him on the JFK show. Well, that didn't actually happen. She was in the comment section and answered a few quick questions about whether the wiretapping was real by making very short comments like, yes, it was real and other YouTubers knew about it, right? Like, what in the actual fuck are we talking about here? This is ridiculous. Like, this is the part where it's like, listen, Billy, you have no idea what you're talking about. nor do you know who you're dealing with. You're not dealing with a smart guy, right? If he was smart, he would have shut the fuck up long ago and stopped committing crimes. He's not smart. He's impulsive. He doesn't listen to lawyers. He just does what he wants when he wants, which is why he's being charged with so many fucking things, right? Because he can't help himself but fall back on old bad habits, which are blackmail, threats, extortion, things of that nature, right? Wiretapping, hello, common sense. Common fucking sense.
Ordinarily effective. And
I think you did get him closer. I think you did bring them.
No,
I think you got.
That's who he is. Look, he wants her. He did say something on that stream. I also remember, this is not your story to tell, Karen. It is her story to tell, but it's also Turtleboy's story to tell. I mean, when he's writing the book of my journalistic life, when you get to the
he said
are you surprised by that?
No. But I just, I think that we can head for a good stage in Boston. You come out, we bring him in.
Yeah, money, all the money.
You know what we lost in this country a long time ago? Nuance.
No, we got nuance. We just don't get it from that
Turtle Boy. If she probably, talk
about the recording,
colludes with him too much, it's going to fire him up to come after her even more. But
that's life. Too bad.
In the end, isn't the truth?
Okay, so if he knows that, right? If she defends herself or if she says what really happened with the wiretapping, no, he's not writing a book. He's saying if he writes a book. If she says anything that's true with the wiretapping thing, if she comes out and talks about it, basically, that he'll attack her more. If you know that about him, Mr. Billy Bush, bub, then you are very well aware and just being willfully ignorant that the man is a piece of human garbage. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's not be willfully ignorant. It's not a fucking excuse in my book. Just ignoring shit that you don't want to talk about and praising someone simply because are you afraid, Mr. Billy Bush? I'm just wondering. Are you afraid? Kind of looks like Albert Einstein with that hair, but are you afraid? Are you afraid? There would be no, he would still be doing the whole 300 people watching like I'm doing, although I'm a much smaller channel than even he was at that point. So I highly doubt she's ever going to work with him again. People think it's just the wiretapping that was the issue. It wasn't. It was not just the wiretapping. There were many other issues that went on behind closed doors for both trials. He tried to literally blackmail her in trial one and say, I'm going to Tully. I'm going to go to Tully if you don't give me a seat in court. Okay? Yeah, so there you go, right? There you go.
The strongest thing we have, if you're standing on the side of the truth, if the truth is with you.
Sure, I don't think you knew
when Alan Jackson told us how deeply involved in her defense she was,
okay,
I know he was not just, anything. This O'Keefe civil trial against Karen is a joke. It's a joke, and it needs to be thrown out.
It isn't a joke. It's very serious, and the O'Keefes did not deserve what the fuck they got and all the hate that was thrown towards them. And I don't care if you believe in Karen Read's innocence or not, but he just admitted himself that what Turtleboy did, right, quote, worked. Well, what he also did was disparage the family and other people, right, of the victim. And that caused them a lot of fucking hell for multitude of years. And so you just gave that lawsuit a valid reason to exist, sir. So poo-pooing it now and saying it shouldn't exist is ridiculous when you literally, so again, this is part of my problem with Billy Hot Mics. You're talking out both sides of your mouth, sir. Okay? The O'Keefes have an actual claim against all of this because they didn't deserve what the fuck they went through. Simply because Turtleboy didn't like them. Right? That's ridiculous to then say that, the lawsuit shouldn't exist. Right? Come on. It does exist. And I have no doubt that they will win that lawsuit. It is what it is. That's the truth. Right? The preponderance of the evidence. That's a civil suit. It's not without a reasonable doubt. It's preponderance of the evidence, which is it more likely than not? Right? Well, she did. That did happen. That's exactly what happened. And so for an entire year, he told people he didn't talk to Karen Read when he was actively talking to her every day. She gave him all of the information that he gave to his audience. Some of that information then being incorrect later on, right? They are. Make no mistake, they are. That one should be dropping T- any minute now. But they absolutely are suing him. They are. It just hasn't dropped yet on the docket, but that's something you will see shortly. Literally any day now, that should hit the docket. So, you know, I don't think he understands the full scope of any of this. You know, it doesn't make sense. Well, she was giving him things to say, right? And telling him what he shouldn't say, or, you know what I mean? Like listen, we'll go way back to when she tried to control what I was going to say on my show. Okay. That happened. That's real life. And that's when I was talking about the Procter and Buchanan DNA that they had taken to see if it was on the back of Karen's car, right? And I had gotten that information from a source, and I started talking about it on my show. And as soon as I start talking about it on my show, I get messages. Karen doesn't want me talking about it. Well, that's too bad. It's part of the story. Well, she doesn't want anybody. Well, that's not my problem. This is my show. She can get her own show and decide what she's going to talk about. It's part of the story, whether she wants it talked about or not. I got the information from a source, and I'm going to fucking talk about it, right? Why would you be trying to control what a YouTuber of less than 4,000 is talking about on their show as a murder defendant? That's kind of a bad look. Just saying, right? That happened. That's real life. That's real life. Okay. So just think about, why would she need to do that? You know, I think a lot of people can. Can you imagine being the murder victim's family and dealing with what they have dealt with? Or John O'Keefe's niece and nephew and what they have dealt with as children? Come on. Good for you, Michelle. A lot of people don't. And it takes a while for some people, you know? Oh, yeah. He outed himself a long time ago when he said, oh, JFK is just doing what I used to do, being a mouthpiece. So it's like, he has told on himself numerous times, but a lot of people just ignore it because it's not something they want to hear, right? It doesn't fit their narrative of him being an independent journalist who just is telling the story. That's not what happened, right? That's not what happened, you know? She shouldn't be, but that's why she shouldn't have went to him to begin with. No one knows. I mean, ask yourself, why would you go to someone like that you know is like that? You know what I'm saying? Come on. I believe he doesn't have interest in caring. He's too jealous. Well, that's part of being a narcissist. He just doesn't care. You know, I don't know. That's a good question. That should be a bridge too far for most people, but it's that fake outrage, right? All the outrage against everyone else he says is bad, right? All that outrage they throw at everyone else. What about the outrage for the shit he does? They just explain it away. They make some narrative or some, oh, well, it's fine because this, and this. Like, oh, okay, well, then why wasn't it fine for this person, and this person he attacked for it? Just asking. He sold free Karen Read merchandise for 3 fucking years, made hundreds of thousands of dollars off of that merchandise, and did not donate a single penny to free Karen Read. Yet he bashes a woman who made 4 shirts with turtles on them. They weren't even Turtleboy turtles. They were literally turtles with a crown, okay, that someone had asked her to make from, like, with like what I have, a cricket, right? Okay. To help support him, she had made 4 shirts, right? And she had been waiting to make for other people to order more, so then she could just dump whatever amount, you know, whatever percentage of after. And remember, you have to take the costs out of that. So how much you paid for the shirt, the vinyl, right? You take that out, and then what's left, you take whatever percentage and you donate, right? Because that's how it fucking works if you know what you're doing and you're running any sort of shop, even a small one like Etsy, right? You have to take your costs out. So otherwise you've lost money. That doesn't make sense, now does it? So, you know, she hadn't even got a chance to do any of that. And here he is on his show bashing a woman from New Jersey who made 4 turtle shirts, right? While he sold hundreds of thousands of dollars of free Karen Read merchandise with Karen Read's name on it, crying about how a turtle on her shirt is his, quote, likeness. It wasn't his likeness. He has no trademark. It didn't even look like the Turtleboy turtle. It was just a turtle with a crown, okay? And how that makes him so mad, and she's a scammer. Mind you, she did donate over $300 to the Karen Read Defense Fund. making shirts and stuff that way. And so then he claimed that she never donated, but then accidentally showed the receipt where she donated over $300. So again, the lies, the constant lies. He didn't go after that woman because he cared about those fucking shirts. He went after her because he didn't get his 10 cents when he wanted it, when he thought he should get it right away. After every one shirt is sold, he should get that $4. That's why. Despite selling hundreds of thousands of dollars of free Karen Read merchandise and not donating a single penny of that to Karen Read herself, and going on an entire rant about how people should stop asking him how much he's donating from the free Karen Read merchandise because he's not donating anything and he doesn't have to. Hypocrite much? Just asking for a friend. Same scenario, no? Hundreds of thousands of dollars is a little different than 4 shirts, no? Just saying. And yet, here we are. They skip right past it, goes right over their heads. It's okay for him to do, but no one else. Hello? Common sense? Are you in there anywhere? You know? Hello? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. Well, that's just not true. She did have some to do with it. And we know this because I've seen the messages back and forth where she tells him specifically what to say to Jen McCabe and how to say it and where to go and where they live and what their addresses are. And so she did have some to do with it. Unfortunately, that's just the truth, bottom line. That's okay. It happens, my friend. Make typos all the time. My hands are arthritic, and my phone has like a really small. I need to switch phones. Has a really small keyboard, and like I'll just type really, really quick, and then just send without even looking at it, and it'll hit the button like above it, below it, next to it. You know, the letters. So I make typos all the time from my phone. It's ridiculous, but I don't care because my hands are arthritic. They hurt, and I don't care. Like, you know, that's a good question. You know, I've actually said this many times privately to people, like, I don't even know how he looks himself in the mirror, but again, narcissists don't care. So, you know, bingo, Scorpio, selective outrage. Selective fucking outrage. It is wild. Rules for me, but not for thee. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. Would you trust Darvo Boy to babysit your pet goldfish? I probably would not. I would probably not. Hi, Lisa. I would not. I would not. Not my pet goldfish. I don't have a goldfish. But if I did, no. Would you, let him babysit your turkey in the oven even? Like, come on. Well, it's bingo, Shay, because only he is allowed to make money. Only he is allowed to do X, Y, and Z. That's the point, That is the point. Oh, my God, that's hilarious. And pastes it to his car. Start selling it. See if he gets all outraged, right? See if he gets all outraged because Karen's name's in it. Maybe, but that's why I said, are you afraid too, Billy? And that just goes to show too many people are afraid to speak up. Not me, my friends. Not me. He can do whatever he wants. He can say whatever he wants about me. This is selective outrage, right? He hurts people and he doesn't care as long as he gets what he wants or he keeps concealed what he wants concealed so the world doesn't know. And when it does finally arise, just like the wiretapping, he tries to spin it to his narrative, spin it to make himself the victim every single time. Well, remember, that was one of the problems that he had with me is one time he got mad because I showed him my screen while I was live streaming and how many people were watching, and it was like a couple thousand or whatever. And I'm like, oh, look, like it's going up, it's going up. He got so mad about that. He complained to like 10 people privately. How dare she show me her screen on how many thousands of people are watching that fucking house? Why is that a problem? Don't you want the story out there? Why is that like an issue? Is that an issue? Like, why is that an issue? Weird thing to have a fucking issue about, but he was so bothered by that. So bothered. You know what else bothered him? When people would tell him that they liked my show. He was so bothered by that. So fucking bothered. Weird. For someone who says out of their mouth that they need everyone to talk about it and cover the case and this and this and this. And when people start covering the case and other people find it enjoyable, he had a problem with it because it wasn't just him. So when me or Sean or someone else would get information before him about the case that he didn't have, he would throw a fucking fit because he would tell the world, oh, it's not true because I would have it first, right? That's what he told people. When I said that I broke the story for Natalie having immunity. He told everybody that wasn't true. It was false. Why would Natalie have immunity? That didn't happen. I'm just a liar. Well, fast forward. Who wasn't lying? Who had the information? Who made sure it was true before I sat on it for quite some time before I put it out. And even when I put it out, there were certain things that I pulled back because I still needed to confirm certain things. But the core of it was she had immunity deal, right? And shit was going wonky, right? And he told everyone, oh, that's not true. It's fake. It's false. It didn't happen. She wouldn't have a reason to have immunity. Well, it was true. It was real. And she did. But because he didn't say it first, he didn't have that information first, he was angry. And it's the same thing he did to Sean. He didn't have the information before Sean did. He didn't get the confirmation before Sean did. So you have to say it's fake and it's false because, well, he didn't have it first. I don't give a shit who puts it out first. If that was the case, I would just put things out right away without checking like he does. I don't do that. I sit on things for a long, long time sometimes to be able to confirm certain things, right? So if someone else puts it out before me, which happens sometimes, so be it. I might have had it first, but I'm not willing to put it out there unless I can confirm it, right? I'm just not going to do that. So if someone else gets to confirm it before I do and they put it out there, well, so be it. I don't need to be the first one who put it out there, even though I might have had it first. That's just life. You know, it's not a rush. You know, we don't need to rush about it. There's no rush here, you know? Well, yeah, he does not know all the facts. You're right about that. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird shit. Right. Or a t-shirt with a turtle barely hanging on to a coattail. You know, he loves telling people how everyone else rides his coattail. So I think that one might make him really upset. I'm sure it is a big conversation at the courthouse. I have sources in all sorts of places, but I also have a lot more non-public information than some people. And civil case is going to be a doozy. Just put it that way. These writers remind me of Keith Rainier's followers who dance outside the prison because they believe he will be out. He's serving a 120-year sentence. Well, I guess he's probably not going to be out if he's serving a 120-year sentence. Hey, thank you, Dr. Jones, for sharing, reposting the stream. We appreciate you. We're going to get into some other stuff. Wow, we've already been here 2 hours and 19 minutes. Time flies when you're talking, right? But in the meantime, while we get into some of this other stuff, including some case information here that I'm going to read, if you want to support the channel, there's a bunch of different ways to do so. You can buy yourself a membership to the channel. Make sure you get your membership before New Year's. Wrong. Christmas Eve, because we're having a Christmas Eve pajama party, a later night one to celebrate together. Because some people are alone on the holidays and that's not cool. And so I don't know exactly what time yet because I'll be coming home from somewhere else myself. But we will be having a members only sort of pajama party on Christmas Eve. And I hope you all can join us. Bring your Red Bull, your soda, your hot cocoa, your champagne, your wine, do a little wrapping with us. And we can have just a good old-fashioned night together. So make sure you get your membership before then. You can gift memberships, you can do super chats and super stickers. You can do the most direct routes to the creator, which I suggest for any creator you're watching, which is Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Revolut, Chime. We have a wish list, and we have a link for debit or credit cards. You can remain anonymous by doing any of these. The link for debit or credit is pinned to the top of the chat. It's also in the description of the video itself. We appreciate any and all donations because we're a small channel, and without them, we don't have a channel. So without all of you and a little bit of you guys supporting, there is no us, right? There is no us. So we appreciate any and all support from all of you. Remember, again, no live stream tomorrow because it's Thanksgiving. There's no live stream Friday. It's my birthday. I won't be here. Saturday either. I'm off on Saturdays. It's literally usually my only day off, but we will be back Sunday. I might do an impromptu at some point tomorrow night if I'm not too tired from the turkey. But if not, today will be our last stream until Sunday. So I appreciate all the early birthday wishes from you guys. All right, so let me get this document here. So the witty retort of Cosgrove's response to Kearney's motion to dismiss is unmatched unless, of course, Snoop reading it. Cosgrove calls Kearney's suggestion that the grand jury should have listened to all 50 hours of his online material instead of the relevant clips for which the Commonwealth was seeking indictment was tantamount to the jury being subjected to cruel and unusual punishment under the Constitution. Oh my God, it's in the oh my God, we have to listen to this. It's literally in the voice of Snoop Dogg reading it. I kid you not, guys. I kid you not. Thank you, Sam. I don't know. I haven't actually had a chance to look at it. Read it. So I'm gonna do that here with you guys. Well, isn't that fun? I hope he gets a new pair of silver bracelets soon. I heard he wanted them for Christmas. I think he asked Santa for silver bracelets. The pretty bangle type, you know what I mean? He likes those. Let's see. What is happening? Why is it only, hold on. For some reason, it's because I'm using two browsers. Oh, F my life. Hold on a second. Tweeter? No, not Tweeter. Twitter, goddammit. I'm doing Tweeter. Tweeter. It's gonna drive me bananas. Obnoxious. Hold on. Hold on. Thank you, Michael. Okay. Yeah, but that's not why he's charged with witness intimidation. So let's be very clear about that. He's not being charged with witness intimidation for things he said on YouTube. That's a big misconception because that's what he feeds people. That's what he feeds the general public. That's just patently false. That's just patently false. He's not charged with witness intimidation because he said things on YouTube. That's just not true at all. That's completely false. So obnoxious. Hold on. It's not giving audio if I don't do it here, so hold on. Fuck's sake. Google Chrome is trying to fill a password in. Oh, fuck's sake. All right. Cool, great, wonderful. Let's get this over yonder here. Thank you. That's my point. You know, it's not just shit he said on YouTube. And if you think that, then you need to do more research. I don't need to tell you because you don't have to believe me. But if that's really what you think, then you really need to do your own and better research because that is just patently false. Okay, let's see here. All right. Okay, so looks like Julie has both on. She posted both, so. But I do think this is hilarious to have Snoop Dogg read this. Okay, it's pretty funny. Not gonna lie. Makes me LOL out loud because it is funny. So let me get it up on the screen here for you guys. Sorry, give me 1 second, guys. Computer's giving me a hard time today, so it's being a pain in the butt. All right, so I'm going to enhance this lad battery here and make it bigger. Okay, ready? Ready, go.
So, one might expect the 88-page affidavit to offer examples of the edits, but there are none, and that is because the edits consist entirely of exact clips of relevant content broadcast by Kearney. The only editing is selection. The appropriate course, according to counsel, would have been to show the entire episode for each show, or, by Mr. Kearney's count, over 50 hours of content, preceding from any question as to whether subjecting the grand jury to such an extended dose of Kearney video would have violated the constitutional prohibition against cruel and unusual punishment. Such a course would have inserted confusing and irrelevant material, and doubtless would have generated additional defense arguments that Kearney was prejudiced because the Commonwealth presented evidence of other conduct for which it did not specifically request indictments. So, one might expect the 88-page affidavit to offer examples of the edits, but there are none, and that is because the edits consist entirely of exact clips of relevant content broadcast by Kearney. The only editing is selection. The appropriate course, according to counsel, would have been to show the entire episode for each show, or, by Mr. Kearney's count, over 50 hours of content, preceding from any question as to whether subjecting the grand jury to such an extended dose of Kearney video would have violated the constitutional prohibition against cruel and unusual punishment. Such a course would have inserted confusing and irrelevant material, and doubtless would have generated additional defense arguments that Kearney was prejudiced because the Commonwealth presented evidence of other conduct for which it did not specifically request indictments. So,
that's hilarious, but I'll tell you in layman's terms, basically, and not in Snoop Dogg language, what that just said. But still seriously funny, I'm just saying. Basically, Cosgrove says, like, you would think that in that 88-page motion that Bradel made there, and Betterow and Aiden, that they would have examples of things, right? They don't, of course, because it's just narrative, all of it. But he's like, they assert that the grand jury should have listened to all 50 hours of Aiden's YouTube clips that go with the stuff, because all of the context, right? And Cosgrove's like, no, we would not make a grand jury listen to 50 hours of all of your YouTube streams that we took a clip out, okay, from, because that would, in fact, break the Constitution and subject these poor grand jurors to cruel and unusual fucking punishment. Also, it would give Mr. Bradel a reason to argue completely irrelevant things that have nothing to do with the indictments we charged, and allow Mr. Bradel to say we, tainted the grand jury by letting them listen to things that were completely irrelevant to the indictments charged, which is a fact. It's true. Cosgrove is right. Chick said, extra, 2 separate Boston news outlets reporting that it has been moved. WCVB and Boston Herald judges already assigned. Oh, sweet. Okay, so thank you, Snoop Dogg. We appreciate you. Let's see. I have the answer, by the way. We're gonna pull. Fuck, dude, I hate this. All right, hold on. This is really obnoxious. Hold on a second. Let me pull this down here. Gotta pull it up on here. God damn it. All right. Where is it? Fuck's sake, dude. Come on. Oh, for fuck's sake. Why is it not showing? I just want to get these documents up for you guys so we can see. Okay, here we go. My brain today, I'm telling you, it wants to be difficult for me. Snoop Dogg was hilarious. I'm not gonna lie, whoever's idea that was great. It was great. What? I don't understand. Why is my thing doing this? Oh, maybe this is why. Durr. That's why. Okay. See. Or not. Why is it not showing up on here, but it's showing up on here? I'm so confused. Found it. Sorry, guys. All right. So, let me get it up on the screen here for you guys to see. Share screen. Answer. Commonwealth versus Kearney. Gobble, gobble. Okay. Here we go. I think he must, I mean, at this point, I hope. Ooh, Snoop had mac and cheese? Why did I not know about this? I'm just saying, why did I not know that Snoop had mac and cheese? Not like a thing. All right, let me pull this document over here so I can read it with you guys and see you at the same time. Okay. What page 119, obviously. Commonwealth, Massachusetts versus Aiden Timothy Kearney. Okay, so I have not read this. Okay, I'm reading this with you guys for the very first goddamn time. So, hold on a second, 1 second. Like, we're going to fight StreamYard. What's happening here? Okay. The defendant has filed a group of documents. Now, the defendant being Aiden. Okay, let's all remember. The defendant is the Aidster. All right. The Diary of a Wimpy Killer Turtle. That 88-page monstrosity that could have probably been 20 pages if you made actual legal arguments instead of, putting fake medical conditions into your shit. Okay? Just saying. Lots of hate watchers, guys. We have 487 people over on X watching. Most of them, I'm guessing, banned from being able to be in the live chat here. So, just throwing it out there. We're almost at 600 viewers. So, just saying, lots of hate watchers. They want to hear. They want to hear what the documents from Cosgrove said. Hi, haters. I wish I could play that song, but YouTube and all and their copyright strikes and whatnot. I don't want to do that, but I wish they would. All right. So, the defendant has filed a group of documents supporting an unfiled motion or motions. So basically, Cosgrove is saying, like, they filed this 88-page monstrosity of nonsense, but they did not file any motions pertaining to it at all. So basically, he's calling it out as theater. which is exactly what it is. Most notably, I don't understand either, Lisa. I don't get it. Most notably, what is effectively a motion for reconsideration of the denial, which is so funny because they didn't file a motion for reconsideration. That's his point, is they're like essentially arguing motions without filing the motions, which makes no sense because the judge can't rule on something you didn't file. Literally, literally. So yeah, Betero letters are always been a work of fiction. That's why they're called Betero letters. And at one point, a judge literally said, please stop sending these. If you're going to file something, file a fucking motion, because they're not worth the paper, the literal paper that they're fucking written on. Okay. They're not even worth the paper they're written on to the court. The court can't do anything with them. They're literally just performative. Literally. Okay. So, okay. Most notably, what is effectively a motion for reconsideration of the denial. In large part of the defendant's previously filed and decided McCarthy Odell motion to dismiss, the present defense documents include Attorney Mark Bettero's affidavit in support of a motion, 88 pp. Various exhibits, about 55, and a memorandum of law in support of motion to dismiss the indictments, 30 pp. Functionally, it is difficult to distinguish the Bettero affidavit from a memorandum of law, although it also serves the function of informing the court of what unfiled motions it is supporting. So essentially he's saying, like, they basically say the same thing, and you're not filing the motions, but you're trying to argue them still. Bettero affidavit. In brief, the defense seeks 1, outright dismissal of the pending indictments pursuant to Commonwealth versus Odell, 1984, or alternatively, an evidentiary hearing in support of that aim. 2, dismissal of the indictments for the Commonwealth's alleged failures in providing discovery. And 3, disqualification of Special Prosecutor Kenneth Mello. After setting forth these aims, the Bettero affidavit first lurches into a section entitled Background, which is essentially a hagiographic portrait of the defendant as a crusading, heroic journalist, fiercely pursuing the truth, exposing the falsehoods of the Commonwealth's witnesses in the Karen Read case, laying the bare corruption of local and state. Oh God, it's covered by this fucking stamp. Of the local and I can't see it, and only resisting the attempts of the forces of evil, aka the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office, to deter him in his courageous and never-ending battle for truth, justice, and the First Amendment. So Cosgrove is saying the first part that Aiden filed in that ridiculous motion that he filed is basically saying that, Aiden's a great person and he's the hero fighting all the corruption. That's what's happening here, which is utterly absurd, ridiculous, obviously. It says, resisting the attempts of the forces of evil, aka the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office, to deter him in his courageous and never-ending battle for truth, justice, and the First Amendment. He said, in reading Bettero's Encomius to St. Kearney, oh my God, I called him St. Kearney, I can't. One is irresistibly reminded of Oscar Wilde's comment on the death of Little Nell, the virtuous child in Charles Dickinson's The Old Curiosity Shop. One must have a heart of stone not to laugh. God, he's essentially saying he's laughing at it. The Commonwealth has had an occasion to respond to such drivel in the past, and with some reluctance now does so again. Rather than reinvent the wheel, it quotes liberally from its response to the defendant's previous motion to dismiss. Defendant Kearney is self-employed, supporting himself via a variety of internet presentations, appearing on such outlets as YouTube, Facebook, X, now Twitter. He broadcasts quite frequently, at least 4 times a week, and has monetized his production in various ways, including selling subscriptions, begging online for contributions, selling t-shirts. He attempts to present himself to the viewing public as much as he seeks to portray himself to this court as an investigative journalist, reporting matters of public concern who often break stories by conducting investigations into matters neglected by law enforcement before viewers' very eyes live on the air. Defense McCarthy / Odell, Memorandum 2. The crusading journalist, and I'm doing the air quotes where they are in here, posse is supplemented by assertions of victorious moral outrage, fearlessness in the face of opposition, and crass vulgarity, as seen, for example, in the opening to his YouTube shows, which begins with an extensive repeated chant of, "I'm going to fuck you up." Oh my God, I can't. So embarrassing. So fucking embarrassing. The indictments against Kearney at issue in the defendant's original motion to dismiss, McCarthy / Odell, largely, perhaps entirely, grow out of his activities connected with the Karen Read case and its witnesses. Read has pleaded not guilty to charges of second-degree murder, manslaughter while operating under the influence, and leaving the scene of the motor vehicle accident after personal injury that resulted in death. As recently summarized in the press, the Commonwealth alleges that Read backed her Lexus SUV into a drunken rage into her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe, early on January 29, 2022, after dropping him off outside a Canton home following a night of bar hopping. Anderson, Travis, prosecutors oppose motion to dismiss charges against Karen Read, call allegations of evidence tampering baseless. Boston Globe, February 28, 2025, 11:27 a.m. The defense claims that Read was framed and that O'Keefe entered the house, owned at the time by a fellow Boston police officer, where he was fatally beaten in the basement and possibly attacked by a German Shepherd before his body was planted on the front lawn. He puts a footnote. So this is what I just read is from his previous answer to a motion to dismiss that Aiden already did, right? And so Cosgrove is saying, I'm just going to quote from my other answer to his other motion to dismiss that he filed before. Here it is. And I just read that part. So it says, a subsequent set of indictments against Mr. Kearney named a former paramour turned informant for the Commonwealth, Lindsay Catani, as an alleged victim. Those indictments have since been dismissed by the Norfolk District Attorney's Office. I don't even know why that footnote is there, though. It doesn't seem to make, I don't know why that's there. Whatever. Unless it's in this next part somewhere. I don't see how that's relevant, but cool. At some point early in the Karen Read prosecution on or about April of 2023, Kearney made the subject of some of his online presentations, apparently drawing a favorable audience response. One person who took note was Natalie Berschneider. I don't know how to say, I don't want to mangle this. Wiki Berschneider, who had attended Bentley College with Karen Read from 98 to 2000, I think that's supposed to say 2002, and was now living in California. In February 2022, Natalie saw news articles about Karen's arrest stemming from the death of John O'Keefe, prompting her to contact Karen and offer support. The two women began an ongoing series of conversations covering a number of topics, among them Read's alleged innocence. Read sent Natalie pictures of Colin Albert and suggested that he and O'Keefe shared mutual animosity, which, by the way, I'll point out, Karen later on in an interview said that they never had any animosity, so that's interesting. In April 2023, Natalie spoke with a Facebook supporter of Read's who told her she had a friend, who was Aiden, who would be willing to cover Read's story. Natalie asked Read if she would be interested, and she was. To facilitate communication about the case, Read instructed Natalie to download a messaging app, Signal, which auto-deleted messages after a certain period. Natalie assumed the role of a go-between between Karen Read and Aiden, with Read sending her information and pictures, and Natalie pasting it into the text messages for Kearney. Natalie stated that these text messages included information regarding witnesses, the home address of Trooper Michael Proctor, pictures of witnesses, autopsy photographs, motions filed by her attorneys, police reports, and photographs taken by the Massachusetts State Police Crime Scene Services section. In short, Read passed along through Natalie everything Aiden would need to act as a press agent for Karen Read, while feigning the role of a crusading investigative reporter. That's a fact. Read would sometimes point out mistakes in Kearney's blog presentation to Natalie. For his part, Kearney would ask questions about court paperwork, which Natalie would forward to Read, who would respond to her. Read and Kearney took pains to conceal the relationship from the public. She would sometimes send him information, but tell him he could not put it out to the air. typically because it was information that had come to her through discovery but was not public. Inferably, use of the information would alert this court and an observant follower of Kearney's, if such exists, that she was feeding him information. Oh, he said if such exists. I can't. It is also clear that Read enlisted the cooperation of counsel in coordinating her information dumps to Kearney. Lieutenant Brian Tully's testimony provides a telling example. In mid-May, Kearney sent Natalie a picture of himself wearing a t-shirt depicting a Google search bar with the phrase, "How long to die in cold?" a reference to a piece of evidence in Commonwealth versus Read. Natalie responded she will ask Read if he can wear it to court. Natalie later tells Kearney, quote, "It's okay to wear the t-shirt, how long to die in cold, I got the okay," end quote. Kearney responded, "You asked Alan?" An apparent reference to one of Karen's attorneys, Alan Jackson. Natalie responded. She replied, "Absolutely." Kearney wore the t-shirt at the July 25th, 2023 court date. Okay, why is that like that? Is this redacted? What is happening? Why does it look like that? Okay, cool. In early June of 2023, the two women had a falling out. Natalie had provided some encouragement and advice to Aiden over a proposed documentary. Upon learning of it, Read became angry. An argument ensued, and the two women ceased to speak to one another. Natalie was aware, however, that Read also communicated with Kearney through a John Silvera, and Natalie herself had provided Read with Kearney's Signal username so she could contact him directly. Grand jury summonses issued to Verizon requesting call detail records for two of Kearney's phone numbers and the phone number Natalie provided investigators for Read. The resulting records showed 189 phone calls between those numbers, totaling over 40 hours. Kearney continued to lie to the public about his cozy relationship with Read, denying in an August 29, 2023 video that he was communicating with her or her lawyers. Obviously, the telephone was not the exclusive means of communication, as the two were also communicating, for example, through the Signal app. The defense, as it developed in the first Read trial, as what? Tendentiously? What? Previewed by Kearney's statements and actions, and as it unfolded in court, was something of a murder on the Orient Express defense. What? Everyone in the O'Keefe home on the night in question, as well as the investigating officers and others, either murdered John O'Keefe or was complicit in the cover-up and framing of Read, who was innocent. As the grand jury could have concluded from the evidence before it in pushing this theory, Kearney attacked virtually every prosecution witness, including all people present in the home that evening, as well as certain of their family members. He also savaged O'Keefe family members for their support of the Read prosecution. In addition to his verbal attacks, the defendant harassed many of the witnesses by means of what he called a rolling rally, gathering a caravan of his followers to drive Sarandism to the homes of the witnesses, where he denounced and taunted them with a megaphone, often exhorting them to tell the truth, which the witnesses understood as an accusation that they were liars. Commonwealth's opposition to the defendant McCarthy Odell motion to dismiss, blah, 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 argument. Having previously brought and fully litigated a McCarthy Odell motion, the defendant has no right to bring a renewed attack on grand jury proceedings already upheld by this court. Arguments he previously raised have been considered and decided and are settled. Arguments that he failed to raise but could have are waived. And I think, Cosgrove's right. He already brought up these ridiculous arguments and the court already said, nah, bro, sorry, not sorry. We're not doing that. And ones that he failed to bring up at the time don't matter because it was already decided by a court. So this says on February 14th, 2025, the defendant filed his McCarthy Odell motion to dismiss indictments for lack of probable cause and for the prosecutor's impairment of the integrity of the grand jury with misrepresentation of fact and law. At the time he did so, the Commonwealth had provided in discovery to the defendant all the grand jury minutes. Among other things, he thereby necessarily had full and complete knowledge of the following: that the grand jury heard that Special Prosecutor Mello ultimately did not ask the grand jury to return an indictment against Kearney for illegally wiretapping Mr. Scanlon, which, by the way, he did. He did illegally wiretap Mr. Scanlon. All of the testimony of all grand jury witnesses, including Detective Lieutenant Tully, all the instructions given or not given to the grand jury by Mr. Mello, and all questions and comments made by him. all of the excerpts of Kearney's online media presentations introduced into evidence and how they were identified on the thumb drives introduced as grand jury exhibits. Kearney originally told this court that the prosecutor impaired the integrity of the grand jury by misrepresenting fact and law, soliciting opinion, and distorting the state of the evidence by selective omissions, which is just absurd. He specifically argued that Mr. Mello's instructions to the grand jury were deficient and that he elicited improper opinion and hearsay, which, by the way, you can use hearsay, by the way, in grand jury, just saying. However, he did not bother to raise any argument concerning the absence of a wiretapping indictment alleging that Scanlon was a victim, and neither did he complain about the accuracy, completeness, editing, or titling of the video excerpts introduced as exhibits. Undersigned counsel filed a responsive memorandum addressing Kearney's arguments on March 5th, 2025. On May 19th, 2025, having the benefit of both parties' memoranda, copies of the grand jury minutes, and copies of the online excerpts played for the grand jury by the Commonwealth, so the clips of his that they played, the court, Judge Doolin, issued a comprehensive decision allowing the motion in part, dismissing 6 indictments as presenting insufficient evidence, primarily those that named troopers as victims, but otherwise denying it. Neither party moved for reconsideration. Neither party sought interlocutory appeal. Now the defendant wants to do it all over again, which you can't, by the way. Writing on Kearney's behalf, Attorney Betterow has made the same arguments, having adduced various examples of alleged sins committed by Mr. Mello, some the same as presented by Attorney Bradel in the first motion to dismiss. He plucks a few different examples, but all of them were readily available in support of the defendant's position in round 1. As one justice of this court has aptly put it, a motion is not a dry run or a dress rehearsal to come back once an adverse ruling is obtained to try and do it all over again. See Commonwealth versus Pagan. To be sure, a judge may permit a motion that has been heard and denied to be renewed when substantial justice requires. Mass criminal procedure, blah, 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 blah. Emphasis added. Such instances should be rare. However, lest, as said in a different context, judges would become Penelopes, forever engaged in unraveling the webs they wove. Commonwealth versus Safarian. Quoting Elhan J. and Jorgensen versus York, renewal, however, is typically appropriate where new or additional grounds are alleged, which could not reasonably have been known when the motion was originally filed. So what they're basically saying is, you can't redo this, right? You can't do this. You can't redo it. This was already hatched out. Motion to dismiss was denied, blah, 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 blah. You argued all this bullshit already, right? And Cosgrove is saying, like, he's, naming the cases that go with the argument. He's saying you don't get to renew unless there is a, additional grounds on which you could do that, right? Or evidence that wasn't known to you at the time but is known now. Then you can come back at it. That doesn't exist here. That's not the case here. So, in Superior Court, a motion for reconsideration shall be based on newly discovered evidence that could not be discovered through the exercise of due diligence before the original motion was filed, a change of relevant law, or a particular and demonstrable error in the original ruling or decision. A motion for reconsideration shall otherwise raise no new grounds for relief not raised in the original motion or opposition, and shall not reiterate previously advanced arguments. Superior Court Rule 9D, motions for reconsideration. The defendant's motion for reconsideration flouts each and every one of these 3 prerequisites, which may explain why he shrinks from honestly labeling it as a motion for reconsideration. In his initial motion, the defendant did not attack, as he now does, any of the video evidence offered by the Commonwealth. For his present motion for reconsideration, he now claims that the prosecutor and Detective Tully deceived the grand jury by grouping videos the Commonwealth offered as evidence of intent on a folder on the thumb drive exhibit labeled as intent, showing edited clips that allegedly deprived the grand jury of viewing Kearney's actual full episodes, many well over 2 hours long, and 3, assigning titles to the edited clips that did not match the titles Kearney assigned to the full episodes. Betterow affidavit, blah, blah, blah. Although as the Commonwealth will shortly develop, these arguments have been entirely waived by their omission from the first motion to dismiss. It first stoops to briefly address the substance of Kearney's newly raised claims concerning the videos. 1. Tully never testified that Kearney created the thumb drive folder labeled intent, into which Tully placed the videos showing Kearney's intent, and no reasonable juror would have drawn such an implausible inference. Moreover, the jurors had available for viewing the video clips themselves and could view them and draw their own inferences as to Kearney's intent. 2. Counsel's use of the term edited to describe the clips inartfully and falsely implying that the contents were somehow modified or distorted. Were that so, one might expect the 88-page affidavit to offer examples of the quote edits, but there are none. And that is because the edits consist entirely of exact clips of relevant content broadcast by Kearney. The only quote editing is selection. The appropriate course, according to counsel, would have been to show the entire episodes for each show, or, by Mr. Kearney's count, over 50 hours of content. Presenting from any question as to whether subjecting the grand jury to such an extended dose of Kearney's video, would have violated the constitutional prohibition against cruel and unusual punishment. It's so funny, though. Part is so funny. He literally says, like, listen, we would be subjecting these grand jurors to cruel and unusual punishment if they have to listen to 50 hours of fucking Aiden Kearney talking shit out his ass. So we didn't do that. We took the relevant clips that were relevant to the indictments from his YouTube presentations and gave them to the grand jury for them to make whatever inference they are to make themselves from it. So it says, such a course would have inserted confusing and irrelevant material and doubtless would have granted additional defense arguments that Kearney was prejudiced because the Commonwealth presented evidence of other conduct for which it did not specifically request indictments. He essentially says, like, there was other criminal conduct we could have charged and didn't charge, and then you would have said we prejudiced him with other bad acts if we showed the entire 50 hours, which is exactly that's what would have happened. So let's be honest here. If one were to seriously entertain the defense's play the whole video argument, a useful way of thinking about it would be by analogy to the trial doctrine of verbal completeness, which holds that where the Commonwealth places into evidence passages from a defendant's statement that it believes to support the charge, the defense may then put in such contemporaneous evidence from the same statement which contradict, modify, or otherwise throw light on the prosecution's passages. The rule is exhaustively discussed in Commonwealth versus Watson. In the context of admission of documents, defendants have insisted that either the whole document or no part of it was competent. There is no such rule. Quoting the United States versus Dennis, of course, the standards of a grand jury presentation are less exacting than a trial's. A grand jury is not bound by the rules of evidence that hold at trial, which is true. The grand jury hardly could have been misled by the titles Lieutenant Tully used to identify the excerpts he played for them. Consider the specific examples which the defense singles out as misnamed and misleading episodes, i.e., those titled by Tully as trying to destroy Colin Albert's life, life as normal is over, and impromptu live 8/7/23. Albert should be afraid. Federal Affidavit 256. All of those titles were taken from Kearney's exact words, which the grand jurors saw and heard him speak as the YouTube clips were played, and which this court has had exhibits at the defendant's previous McCarthy-Odell motion to dismiss. If there were any in life, it says if there was any, these are footnotes, prejudice to the defendant, Kearney himself was the author of it, damned not by sinister manipulation by the Commonwealth, but out of his own mouth. So Cosgrove basically says it's Aiden's own fault, right? Then there's clips. Footnotes. Footnote 2. In trying to destroy Colin's life, Kearney begins by musing about whether Colin's aunt, Jill Daniels, whose photograph he displays, has a crush on him, a proposition he modestly thought at first to be ridiculous. After asking his viewers to weigh in on this important topic, he opines that it is wild because I'm like trying to put her like godson / nephew in jail and like kind of like destroy their life. But she also likes me? Like what? 2 comments. Daniels is not a witness in the Read case, but as a relative of a witness, Kearney considers her fair game for humiliation. Second, Kearney explicitly states the goal of his behavior with respect to Colin Albert is to destroy his life. In Life as Normal is Over, Kearney shares the screen with a photograph of one of his acolytes has snapped of Chris Albert when he was at the when he was at something. It just says at and then his period, okay? As the Commonwealth explained, could be redacted, I don't know. As the Commonwealth explained to this court on the previous go-around in episode 598, Life is Over, now Kearney taunts Albert, suggesting he will never be able to go anywhere in peace because there are turtle riders everywhere who will harass him and photograph him wherever he goes. It's only going to get worse from here. Although Chris Albert didn't personally kill John O'Keefe, he raised someone who did it and was helping to cover it up. He adds, Chris, I know where you guys were today. Y'all were in Agawam, weren't you? I got pictures of you on my cell phone. I got people sending me pictures. You guys were at some sort of Little League thing in Agawam. Alberts, McCabe's, all you people were there. So just like that, just know that there will be no life as normal is over. Emphasis supplied. And Albert should be afraid. Kearney assured his viewers that they had nothing to fear from the same Alberts whom he routinely accused of being implicated in a murder. The jury saw and heard Kearney conclude, I'm certainly not afraid of Brian Albert or Colin Albert or any of, and I'm assuming it goes to say that these punks, they're afraid of me, they should be, I would be if I were them. Emphasis added. Boy. All right, I need to take a bathroom break, so give me like 2 minutes, please. That's to pee. Sorry, I really had to pee. Okay, back to the, I need to move this now. I need to move it over here because looking at the screen over here is starting to hurt my neck because it's constantly looking over there. All right, I'll move it over yonder. Oh my God, push my chair in. It doesn't really help that I have carpets. Crap. All right. Yeah, it's Cosgrove's response to the quote mega motion. Oh, crap. All right. Here we go. Back to it. All of the above examples chosen and singled out, not by the Commonwealth, by the defendant himself via the Betterow affidavit, are illustrative of the truth of Lieutenant Tully's statement that he named the videos to accurately describe their contents, often using the exact relevant phrases spoken by the defendant. Also, some of Tully's titles for excerpts were far more unknown than the Kearney titles for the full episodes from which they were taken. To pose 2 rhetorical questions, if Tully's purpose were to use the excerpt titles to inflame the grand jury, Would he really title the excerpt from episode 580, Elizabeth Proctor, Dumbest Wife Ever, Brian Albert Opposition Motion, the bland call to Elizabeth Proctor? Would he have toned down Kearney's drunken lardo, Michael Morrissey declares war on turtle writers to response to DA Morrissey's statement? But the court need not wade into any of the defendant's contentions about titling of the excerpts because the defendant has waived the argument, failing to make it in his original McCarthy-Odell motion to dismiss. At the same time he filed that motion, he obviously had available to him the full episode names that this time around he's lovingly memorialized in a 3-page chart. He had all the relevant grand jury transcripts containing each and every word of Lieutenant Tully that he now calls to the court's attention, including all the titles designating the clips played for the jury, which he previously ignored but now exaggerates. He had copies of the grand jury exhibits, including each and every video exhibit played for the grand jury that he now references. My eyeballs. It's like seeing lines because like all you see is like black and white and you're like staring at the screen and it's like making me, I can't. I need to like change the like something on my screen to make it either brighter or dimmer or get some blue light glasses or something. I also need my prescription up, so that's probably part of the problem. Just saying. That's why I shut the other lights off too, because they were definitely giving me a headache, but it's because my prescription needs to be upped and there was a 3-month wait to get an eye exam. So just have to deal with it. Copies of the grand jury exhibits, including each and every video exhibit played for the grand jury that he now references. No one knew better than the defendant himself what he had titled his original episodes and that they were lengthy, often well over 2 hours in length. It could not possibly have escaped his attention that the Commonwealth played not the full videos, but pertinent excerpts, that the Commonwealth placed some of those exhibits in an electronic folder designated intent, which the defendant obviously knew he did not create, and that the names of the experts typically corresponded to their content, not to the titles he himself had given the episodes. Nobody was better situated to make these observations than the defendant himself. Finally, even straining charity to the point of believing Kearney was oblivious to the obvious at the time he filed his McCarthy-Odell motion, the Commonwealth's opposition to that motion clearly should have alerted him to the issue in time to raise it at oral argument before Judge Doolin. Attorney Betterow correctly surmises that undersigned counsel had been aware that the excerpt titles came from Tully, not Kearney, relying, as undersigned counsel did, on the exhibits introduced before the grand jury. However, for whatever reason, undersigned counsel nevertheless did notice one retitling and scripturally called it to the attention of the court. In discussing the video excerpt confronting Jennifer McCabe at a lacrosse game, undersigned counsel stated that apparently the title was assigned by the Commonwealth. The video comes from a Turtleboy live broadcast entitled Asking Jennifer McCabe That Question. Does she know the answer? Catherine Peters' involvement as an informant in the investigation of Kearney's alleged crimes provides no substantial basis for reconsideration of this court's prior denial of the defendant's McCarthy-Odell motion. Kearney acknowledged in passing the existence of his prior motion to dismiss, but asserts that he filed it without access to undisclosed evidence, which he claims was important. Federal Affidavit 33. The defense designates 2 such pieces of evidence. First, communications between Ms. Peter, Mr. Mello, and Detective Lieutenant Tully. Federal Affidavit, page 34, which was, quote, critical, and if, quote, disclosed promptly, would have been included in support of the defense's motion to dismiss. Federal Affidavit, page 29, page 291. And second, the previously discussed presentation of the grand jury of excerpts from Kearney's broadcast that were labeled by Lieutenant Tully, Federal Affidavit 36. The defense claims that it learned of this for the first time on September 4th, 2025, Federal Affidavit 36. As fully demonstrated above, that contention is risible. Basically, he says, you're a fucking liar. You're a liar, right? I don't blame you. I've you're the idiot. I mean, essentially, Cosgrove calls him out on being a fucking liar and then proves it. So there's that. All right. So then it says, it is true, however, that since the previous defense motion to dismiss, the defense has acquired communications among Special Prosecutor Mello, Lieutenant Tully, and Ms. Peter, and so has, quote, new evidence. That being undisputed, the remaining legal question for this court is whether the significance of that evidence is such that substantial justice should dictate an undoing of Judge Julian's previous denial of the defense's motion to dismiss. It should not. There is a factual dispute that the court should resolve. The defendant paints Ms. Peter as a member of the prosecution team. Indeed, the dominant player to whom Special Prosecutor Mello outsourced, quote, outsourced investigative work, Bettero Affidavit 191. Per Bettero, Mello was supposedly aware that she edited Mr. Kearney's content with her own editorial slant and bias and reviewed private links she sent him 2 days before the grand jury proceedings started. The implication of the latter assertions, apparently, is that Mello and Tully were spoon-fed, maliciously edited clips by Ms. Peter, which they then mindlessly regurgitated as grand jury exhibits. As Lieutenant Tully's affidavit demonstrates, that is not the case. See his affidavit, 20 to 22 and 41 to 45. Ms. Peter was not part of the prosecution team, but a source of information among many sources. The primary source of information was the victims of Kearney's broadcast who complained about them to the Commonwealth, although, to be sure, Peter may also have brought some of that information to Mello or Tully's attention. In each instance, Tully went himself to the internet, viewed the allegedly offending material, copied it if appropriate, and, if presenting it to the grand jury, named it in a way that accurately identified its contents, usually using Kearney's own words as contained in the excerpt. So there's a footnote. 3. On the one hand, the defense is highly critical of the Commonwealth as ignorant or dismissive of Peter's woeful credibility. Bettero Affidavit 157, see also EG 141. On the other, it never fails to adduce the slightest boast by Miss Peter as to her own importance to the investigation as credible. Basically, they're saying, talking out two sides of their mouth. Either she's credible or she's not. Can't be both ways. You're saying she's not, but then you're saying she is. Which one is it? You know? Alan Jackson's not going to address Aiden's comments. Come on, we know that. And Alan Jackson has a lot of explaining to do with his ethics, I'll tell you that much. Yeah, it's everyone else's fault, but Aiden's always, you know? It's always. The defendant's bald assertion that the Commonwealth employed Miss Peter to clip, edit, and rename Mr. Kearney's episodes and then conceal the actual episodes and their accurate information from the grand jury's consideration, Federal Affidavit 208, is an outrageous and irresponsible untruth. Basically, he says you're a fucking liar. In but 2 instances, the Commonwealth, of necessity, did use the exact videos provided by Ms. Peter because those videos were no longer up on the internet, allegedly because they had been removed. Both were wiretapping claims. One arose in connection with an alleged surreptitious recording of Lindsay Gattani, which the defendant played on an internet broadcast. The evidence was that the initial version was taken down and a second version substituted into, which Mr. Kearney edited from some other source, an announcement that he was recording the conversation. Gattani's testimony corroborated that Kearney never told her the conversation was being recorded, i.e. the initial version, not the second, was genuine. The other, quote, Peter recording was introduced during the grand jury presentation involving Mr. Scanlon. At trial, a defendant might well contest the authenticity of these or any recordings, but here the Commonwealth has good faith basis for believing them to be accurate based on the statements and testimony of the involved witnesses. Scanlon claimed that Kearney told him he wouldn't record their conversation. There was no impropriety in their introduction. Were the court to conclude otherwise, however, the proper remedy would be the dismissal of the resultant tainted indictments. That is unnecessary. The Gattani indictment is not before this court. It was never part of this docket, and in any case has been null prost for unrelated reasons by the Norfolk District Attorney's Office, so they already got rid of those. Neither is a Scanlon indictment before this court, for as the defendant has complained repeatedly, the Commonwealth did not ask the grand jury to return one, right? As for the indictments actually before this court, to the extent she and Mr. Kearney share a mutual loathing, and they clearly do, and to the extent to which she may desire to see him hurt, humiliated, and imprisoned, as she apparently does, the question for the court, and ultimately a jury, should a trial judge permit counsel to go down that particular road is not the bias of any particular informant, but the reliability of the evidence. The Commonwealth's evidence before the grand jury consisted of videos indisputably made by Kearney documenting his own actions and the testimony of his victims as to their knowledge of those actions and the impact they had on their lives. It matters not a whit who informed the Commonwealth of any particular video's existence. What matters is the authenticity of the evidence. For all the relentless characterization of Tully's labeling of the video excerpts shown to the grand jury as, quote, improper or intentionally misrepresented, out of context, cherry-picked snippets, prejudicially named, falsely named, misnamed, sliced and diced, cherry-picked and out of context, and subterfuge that tricked the grand jury, nowhere does the defendant point to even a single word of Kearney's in any video clip that has been altered or modified by the Commonwealth. Nowhere does he point to a single instance where a word was omitted, altering a meaning, and nowhere does he represent that he did not create the videos of his own actions and words shown by the Commonwealth to the grand jury. He does not make those representations because he cannot. At the end of 30 pages of memorandum of law, 88 pages of meandering argument mislabeled as an affidavit, and a host of exhibits, the defendant's contentious amounts to nothing more than sound and fury, signifying nothing. The Commonwealth has provided the defendant with extensive discovery in this case. Whatever the problems or flaws in its production of discovery, and there have been some, they fall far short of requiring the draconian sanction of dismissal of the case. The Commonwealth promptly provided the defense with an extensive discovery as borne out by the items set forth in undersigned counsel's letter to Attorney Bradel, May 8th, 2024. Also notable, its expression of an undersigned belief, naive in retrospect, that discovery was then almost complete. This court should take note of discovery itemized in that letter, the subsequent discovery letter as of June 13, 2024, and indeed the Commonwealth's filed and docketed responses to the defendant's previous discovery motions. In measuring the veracity of the defense's claim that since Mr. Kearney's 2023 indictment, the Commonwealth has exhibited breathtaking indifference to its constitutional and statutory obligations to disclose evidence to the defense. Discovery has continued since that time, with the Commonwealth responding to defense requests and the defense, in turn, finding problems with the discovery provided, alleging missing discovery, sometimes correctly so, continuously generating new discovery requests and demanding further explanation of discovery already provided. Some of the Commonwealth's problems have been logistical, which are not the defendant's fault, but inform the realities of production. By way of background, the investigation into Kearney began about May or June of 2023. Attorney Mello, a resident of Bristol County, was engaged as special prosecutor on or about September 2023. From the Tully affidavit 6 months later, in March 2024, the Norfolk District Attorney recruited the undersigned to assist Mr. Mello with some legal research, writing, and similar tasks. Mello, however, proved to be gravely ill and has been physically unable to appear in court, requiring the undersigned effectively to assume full responsibility for the case. In point of fact, the undersigned has never been able to meet with Mr. Mello in person since undersigned's counsel's entry of an appearance in any case against Mr. Kearney, Cosgrove Affidavit 3-4. While counsel has largely been able to obtain discovery materials directly from the Norfolk District Attorney's Office, some of the necessary sorry, we're buffering. He basically, Cosgrove says, like, some of the discovery material Mr. Mello had. So it says, with his ongoing health problems and intermittent hospitalizations have retarded the process of acquiring them. To return to the previously mentioned May 8th discovery letter, the court will note that in addition to the discovery produced by undersigned counsel, it references discovery previously provided by Lieutenant Tully, given Mello's illness, then hoped to be transitionary. Tully was employed in the prosecutor's normal role of providing discovery. Another difficulty with discovery in this case has been ongoing nature of the defendant's conduct towards the alleged victims and witnesses. To reiterate, just a few previously brought to the attention of this court and others, there was his online hope that Lieutenant Tully would die horribly along with his wife and children, charmingly coupled with Kearney's self-comparison with Jesus. Self-comparison with Jesus. His nose to the window antics and accusations in the form of questions at the Albert's Pizza Shop, captured by the security camera, his recent drive-by outside the Cape Cod home of a witness in the Karen Read case, his discourse as to whether or not an officer's wife was blue because Kearney speculated she gave her husband oral sex, and his repeated libels of Jennifer McCabe as a murderer. These and a host of other antics, some relatively minor, some offensive but clearly legally protected speech, prompt the victims to contact the district attorney's office, often by email, questioning whether action can be taken, whether the conduct is a bail violation. Arguably, these constitute discoverable statements, although they say nothing whatsoever about the crimes with which the defendant is charged. To the extent they provide information on subsequent bad acts, the Commonwealth would be obligated to disclose such bad acts in any case before attempting to admit them at trial. If the statements are otherwise arguably discoverable, it is because they show a bias against Mr. Kearney that conceivably could be used to impeach him. But the reasons for any victim's bias are obvious from the very facts alleged supporting Kearney's charges. Basically, they're saying, of course, a victim is going to have a bias against someone who committed a crime against them. Common sense. Like, come on, stop it. But the reasons for any victim's bias are obvious from the very facts alleged supporting his charges. In that sense, discovery of the statements is entirely cumulative. This court should consider limiting discovery going forward to exclude victims' statements that make no factual references to the underlying charged offenses or to prior or subsequent bad acts the Commonwealth seeks to introduce at trial. Otherwise, there will be no end to it. As it did with its attack on the grand jury presentation, the defense focuses much of its criticism on the Commonwealth's provision of discovery concerning Catherine Peter, which it claims supports its preposterous theory that she, Lindsay Gattani, Mr. Mello, Detective Lieutenant Tully, and possibly others diabolically plotted to have Mr. Kearney bail revoked by luring him into intimidating Miss Gattani after they, quote, made her what Mr. Betterow describes as a, quote, witness, taking care to put the term in scare quotes. Discovery provided by the Commonwealth shows that Gattani was indeed a witness, interviewed by the police with specific attention to what she knew about Kearney's ongoing communications with Karen Read. After that interview, she received a summons to testify before the grand jury. Like so many other issues, the defendant has raised this one with this court before. The Commonwealth picks up the story by quoting, God damn it. Sorry. Dropped it by accident. The Commonwealth picks up the story by quoting a previous response. This is something he already responded to, but I'll read it. In abbreviated form, the Commonwealth summarizes the evidence, largely drawing on Ms. Gattani's testimony before the grand jury, supplemented by police reports and other evidentiary materials, all of which have been provided in discovery to the defense. Ms. Gattani met the defendant in September of 2023 after viewing his blogs and YouTube shows dealing with the Karen Read case and ordering a t-shirt from his website. The relationship became intimate by the beginning of December. The relationship had soured. Gattani came to the attention of Special Prosecutor Mello, who dispatched Lieutenant Tully, and especially assigned private investigator Nelson de Gueva to interview her. As a result of that interview, the detectives returned to Gattani's home December 22nd of 2023. Upon receiving the summons, Gattani feared Kearney would think she had sought out the detectives and was trying to get him in some sort of trouble. She was afraid he would retaliate in some way. She called Kearney and sent him a picture of the summons. Hours of phone conversations and text communications ensued. Kearney became upset and accused Gattani of setting him up by passing along information to Kate Peters, a woman who he believed was adverse to his interests and had provided the information to the police. Following day, December 23rd, acting against what he had told Gattani was his lawyer's advice, Kearney announced he wanted to come by Gattani's apartment to discuss the summons. Gattani agreed. They met first at a business conference room in her apartment building. Upon arriving, Kearney demanded that Gattani give him her phone. He said he wanted to read any messages between her and Peters, as well as any messages with Detective Lieutenant Tully and Special Prosecutor Mello. Gattani refused. The defendant then threatened that his lawyers was going to have to destroy her on the stand, tear apart every piece of her life, embarrass her, bring up everything from her past. Stalling for time, Gattani went into the bathroom and telephoned Special Prosecutor Mello and spoke to him briefly. Mello called Lieutenant Tully and told him Gattani said the defendant was in her apartment and forwarded her call. Tully could not understand anything she said as the voices were muffled, inferably because Gattani did not want the defendant to overhear. After several minutes, the call ended, and at 10:48 p.m., Gattani sent Lieutenant Tully the following message. Ken said to call you, but I can't. He's knocking on the bathroom door. I have to go back out. Please don't text or call, and tell Ken not to because he wants to see my phone. I'm deleting our calls and texts right now. Don't respond until you hear from me, please. Now, does that not sound like someone who's afraid at that moment? Not someone who's trying to set him up, but someone who's afraid, right? Afraid. Probably because, he threatened her, say. Weird, but this is what he does. You guys don't think that he threatens people, he does it all the time. So then it says, Gattani emerged from the bathroom and unsuccessfully attempted to stall, showing the defendant her phone. Terrified by the defendant's threats, Gattani acquiesced and the two proceeded to her apartment. In the course of the conversation, the defendant instructed Gattani to delete from her phone messages between the two of them. He said that I would not get in trouble if I wanted to throw my phone in a river or delete any messages because with this summons, there was no order for preservation of evidence. So he said I could not get in trouble for removing any incriminating information from my phone about him. He said that he confirmed this with his attorney, Tim Bradle. For the next several hours, the defendant went through Ms. Gattani's phone, reading through exchanges between Gattani and Kate Peters and taking notes. At the conclusion of this process, the defendant announced that he was very proud of her and was going to protect her, which he did. So fucking sick. It's just sick. It's sick. Where was I? The reconciliation, such as it was, did not last long. Later, while the defendant's attention was elsewhere, Gattani ripped the page of notes that he had taken from his notebook, crumpled them, and shoved them down her shirt, and subsequently hid them under her mattress. Footnote omitted. The defendant became aware that his notes were missing and demanded them back, accusing her of stealing his property. Eventually, he announced he was leaving, and after some delay, did so. Gattani recounted these events the next day by telephone to Lieutenant Tully, who told her to call the Medfield Police Department to report the incident. Tully perceived her to be hesitant. He called the Medfield Police, reported what Gattani had said, and asked them to follow up. The defendant had complained repeatedly that the phone texts of that evening between Gattani and Tully were not included in the subsequent copy of the download of her phone provided them by the Commonwealth. Undersigned counsel explained why that was the case in his letter to Attorney Bradle on May 8, 2024, telling him in pertinent part, if there is data missing, that it is because it was missing when the phone came into the Commonwealth's possession, custody, and control, and thus we do not have it. The Commonwealth later secured the missing texts with Tully by means of copying them from his cell phone and handed them to counsel in open court during a hearing. So in sum, defendant wishes to tell a jury that the Commonwealth engaged in a plot with Kate Peter and Gattani to make her a witness, then lure him to her apartment, provoke him to criminal conduct, then arrest him so his bail could be revoked. So cunning were the alleged plotters that Ms. Gattani studiously avoided any mention of their plot and its apparent progress when texting Tully nothing like it worked or he's here now, arrest him. Oddly, neither Tully nor any other officer was outside Gattani's apartment waiting to burst in and arrest Kearney at the appropriate moment, and not incidentally protect Gattani from any harm. Equally oddly, Gattani never reported the incident to the local police the following day, a lapse that prompted her alleged co-conspirator Tully to make the call. Truly, this defense theory is Lincoln-esque, at least in the sense that Lincoln has been quoted, likely falsely, as saying, you can fool all the people some of the time, but some of the people all of the time. So yes, obviously the defendant is correct. The Commonwealth thinks little of his theory. But indulging the defense's contention that the Peter discovery was required irrespective of the Commonwealth's subjective belief in the reliability of the evidence, and further assuming, arguendo, that its conspiracy theory would be an admissible defense argument, the now dismissed Gattani indictments, how prohibitive is it of the indictments before this court, where Gattani is not a victim? The video evidence against the defendant was the product of his own hand. Kate Peter did not organize, participate in, or induce the defendant to organize, participate in, film, and broadcast the rolling rallies in which the defendant led a caravan of cars to the doorsteps of witnesses, harangued them, and intimidated them using a bullhorn. Neither did Kate Peter compel the defendant to dox and defame witnesses and their family members. The defendant did that all on his own. A copy of Lieutenant Tully's recorded call was provided to the defense in discovery. And to what extent has the defendant been prejudiced by any delay in disclosure of the Peter discovery, as he repeatedly asserts? If prejudiced at all, he has not shown it. The defendant also has a related complaint concerning discovery concerning Ms. Peter, i.e., the Commonwealth's alleged failure to preserve exculpatory evidence. The Commonwealth provided in discovery various emails sent by Ms. Peter, some to Mr. Mello, some to Lieutenant Tully. Certain of those emails contained links, usually judging by a label or context, to various online broadcasts by the defendant. Tully's general practice, by no means exclusive to him, was not to access links in unsolicited emails sent from parties outside the NDA's office criminal justice network. Mello, on the evidence of one response to a Peter email suggesting he was unable to access the content, apparently did so at least on some occasions. The emails remain, but not all of them have links that are active. They have not been successfully accessed by undersigned counsel, and Tully and defense counsel also report that those links are dead. Why they are dead is wholly speculative. Possibly the path expired of its own nature, or was removed by the sender. None of the emails at issue containing any warning to the recipient that the links were time limited. The factual scenario raises some novel legal questions, e.g., what duty does an agent of the Commonwealth have to access an unsolicited link, conceivably exposing computer networks to malware? If the link, which is essentially an electronic path to another document, is not accessed, was the unaccessed document ever in the Commonwealth's actual possession, as expressed in defendant's memorandum at 28? If the link is accessed, absent some notice that access may become unavailable in the future, does the Commonwealth have an obligation to attempt to preserve the contents of the link in some other form as a precaution? No, because you can't. Because once the original link is dead, it's dead. There's nothing you can do. I mean, obviously Cosgrove doesn't know that, but does that obligation, if it exists at all, which it doesn't, vary depending on the contents of the link? For example, if someone sends an unsolicited email saying a defendant looks a lot like Humphrey Bogart and attaches a link to Casablanca, is it sufficient simply to save the email, or must the Commonwealth download and preserve a copy of Casablanca? Does the content of Casablanca I'll explain in a second. Does the content of Casablanca constitute part of the statement of the witness, or is the statement simply her own words, or her own words and the fact of her attaching Casablanca, irrespective of the film's actual content, where the link goes dead without any action by the Commonwealth? Has the Commonwealth lost evidence or destroyed it? So what Cosgrove is saying is the Commonwealth doesn't really have a reason to try to save another way if someone sends them a link. Usually they go and they find it on their own without accessing a link that they click on. You can copy the link into a search bar, but without clicking on a link, because you never know. It could be malware, could destroy the computer. So they have to go try to find it themselves based on the title, where it's supposed to be, whatever, right? What rule says that they have to save that? Because once the original person who sends it, kills the link or deletes it, the Commonwealth can't get it. Like, that's just not, and that's not in their custody, care, and control. Once that link is dead, it's dead, either by time limits, because there are time limits on certain things and it just goes dead, or the person deleting it, right? So he's basically saying it's not under the custody, care, and control of the Commonwealth. And at what point would the Commonwealth have to then save all these extra things because defense counsel thinks so, right? So he's saying, finally, if someone forwards another email or a newspaper article without adding any content, or alternatively adding neutral content such as FYI, does the mere act of forwarding it constitute a discoverable statement? If the defense has pondered these issues, it gives the court no hint, proceeding immediately to the assumption that much of the undisclosed and now destroyed evidence was favorable Giglio material because it undermined Ms. Peters' credibility, demonstrated her bias against Mr. Kearney, and supported the defense's theory of a shoddy bad faith investigation, which is just crap. Given the difficult nature of the novel legal questions raised above, the most useful line of analysis may be to assume, arguendo, that the Commonwealth had a duty to access the links and to take some measure beyond preserving the emails that contain them as a prolific, what? My eyeballs. Prophylactic against their possibly becoming dead links. Well, that's the problem. What I think causes everything, if it's dead, he can't access it. He can't save it. So he could save it, but once the original link is dead, it is dead. So the Commonwealth can't preserve that. They cannot preserve something that someone else can kill, right? Because it's not originally from them or under their custody, care, or control. It can't. Once it's originally dead, it's dead. Like, that's it. You know, they have no control over that. Even if they saved it the way it was, once the original thing is gone, that's that. You know what I mean? So it says, the court can then proceed to more familiar questions, i.e., was the evidence once available at the links favorable to the defense? If so, how damaging was its loss? And in light of the damage and the Commonwealth's culpability, what should be the remedy? Under Brady versus Maryland, even after the court is satisfied that the Commonwealth had lost or destroyed evidence, the defendant is not entitled to relief unless and until he first establishes to this court's satisfaction a reasonable possibility based on concrete evidence rather than fertile imagination that access to that evidence would have produced evidence favorable to his cause. So funny. And he's right. Commonwealth versus Neal, quoting State versus Commissioner. Here, the defense asserts that the missing evidence was favorable because it allegedly demonstrated bias by Ms. Peter and supported the defense theory that the shoddy bad faith investigation relied upon a civilian who despised Mr. Kearney and had a documented history of falsifying evidence against him. But none of that is true. Given, as the defense says, Peter's cooperation with the Commonwealth and her dislike of Kearney, it hardly seems probable that she sent links to evidence she thought exculpatory. The reasonable and probable inference is that she sent links to Kearney's own broadcasts, which she thought to be inculpatory and pertinent to existing or possible charges against him. Thus, the defendant wisely makes no argument that the content of the missing links is exculpatory, but fiercely asserts that they demonstrate her bias against Kearney. The inference must then be that the bias is demonstrated either by the content of the messages contained in the links, but note that the defendant quotes none, or the mere fact that Peter was providing evidence to the Commonwealth, even if that evidence were probative of guilt. But there is nothing damning in any citizen assisting a police investigation by providing information. Rather, Ms. Peters' lack of credibility, if such there is only demonstrated by the defense's parade of her prior antagonistic statements against Kearney and what it terms her documented history of falsifying evidence against him. None of this comes from the lost dead link evidence. If, unlike here, a defendant meets his threshold burden as set forth in Neal, the court then applies a balancing test to determine the appropriateness and extent of remedial action. Basically, it decides what the remedy will be and balances that remedy, but it wouldn't jump right to dismissal. The court must weigh the culpability of the Commonwealth and materiality of the evidence and the potential prejudice to the defendant. Commonwealth versus Willie. That test does not require the Commonwealth to prove good faith or earnest efforts to preserve the evidence. Commonwealth versus Olszewski. Cert denied. Quoting Willie Supra at 432. However, this court need not proceed to that test, for no consideration of government culpability or materiality need occur unless the exculpatory nature of the evidence is shown. Commonwealth versus Williams. Should the court disagree, considered in the light least favorable to the Commonwealth, the analysis is as follows. Culpability of the Commonwealth, and the Commonwealth delayed unduly in providing requested discovery of certain emails to the defendant. At some point, links in some of those emails went dead, whether during a period of undue delay or earlier is unknown. The Commonwealth has not been shown to have been aware of the likelihood of the links going dead, but has been shown not to have engaged in any affirmative measures to counter such a possibility. At most, negligence, but no bad faith. Materiality of the evidence, none shown. Throw relevance to impeachment of Kate Peters' claimed prejudice to the defendant, little or none. The Betterow affidavit and defense memorandum overflow with purported examples of impeachment evidence the defense already has to introduce against Kate Peters. Should the trial judge allow such evidence against a witness, the Commonwealth has no need to call to prove its case under the pending counts of this indictment. At best, the missing evidence is entirely cumulative. In supporting the opposite view, the defendant relies on Commonwealth versus Woodward, 1998, which undercuts rather than assists his cause. There, the Commonwealth failed to preserve from an autopsy a missing piece of an infant's dura that was subject to a preservation order. The Supreme Judicial Court upheld the trial judge in holding that the loss of that evidence, surely more explicitly defined and potentially helpful to the defense than that at issue here, did not justify dismissal of the indictment. The Woodward opinion then cited Commonwealth versus Sinelli for the proposition that absent egregious misconduct or at least a serious threat of prejudice, the remedy of dismissal infringes too severely on the public interest in bringing guilty persons to justice. So basically, again, you have to weigh, and the court's not going to be like, yep, right straight to dismissal because you don't like this. That's just not the way it works. They have to weigh it, right? If and only the defendant has satisfied his threshold burden and the court then proceeds to consider a remedy based on the above analysis, the Commonwealth respectfully suggests that no remedy is required. But again, should the court disagree, surely any remedy should fall short of dismissal. The defendant's, quote, motion to disqualify Attorney Mello need not be addressed as the issue is moot. And this just goes on to basically say that Mello isn't practicing anymore. He's sick. You know, it's done. It's literally done. Judge Julian already decided on it. And it's just a footnote explaining that Judge Julian already decided this, right? He's already not doing it. It's moot. Well over a year has passed and the hope has not been that hope has not been vindicated. Moreover, there is no likelihood that Mr. Mello will be capable of appearing in court in the coming year, either as an advocate or any other capacity. Bowing to these harsh realities, the Norfolk District Attorney and Mr. Mello have not entered into a renewal of his expired contract. Conclusion. For the reasons set forth by the Commonwealth, the defendant's motion to dismiss as apparently incorporated in the Betterow affidavit should be denied with the exception of the defendant's prayer to disqualify Attorney Mello, which the court should take no action on as the issue is moot. Robert Cosgrove. Certificate of service. Basically, they've been served. No. No. I mean, that's what he says, of course, but no, that's not what happened. That's not what happened at all. And, that's what he, just got listened to Boston 25. That's good. Hold on, let me look. That's not what happened, of course. That's just what he, so. Sorry, yeeted myself. I literally yeeted myself. What the hell? Oh my God, with my stupid. Thought I heard a knock on my door. What is happening with this? So essentially, Cosgrove basically says the arguments are fucking crap. They're moot. They make no sense. Attorney Bradel and Betterow scream a lot of shit from the rooftops. It's just as patently false and not true. And there's evidence to show that it's not true. It's ridiculous. It makes no sense. And they're saying basically like Kate provided evidence to the cops, and anybody can do that. They're not just magically a agent for doing that. That's not the way it works. Hold on, Jesse sent me something. What happened to the phone? What happened to the phones? Just Boston 25 is asking.
Found a battle over the phones behind the scenes. As we've been reporting, the Massachusetts State Police has 2 iPhones belonging to Karen Read. A special prosecutor wants to search them for evidence that she plotted with Aiden Carney, aka Turtleboy, to intimidate people who testified against her in her murder case. For the first time, we're hearing from both sides. Do you believe that the special prosecutor has the blessing of the DA's office to do this?
I expect that he has the direction of the DA's office to do this.
Attorney Benjamin Herbalist joined Karen Read's legal team about a month ago. This is his take on why Special Prosecutor Robert Cosgrove won't return her phones.
I think it's a matter of Karen Read being acquitted for murder, and there's still so much pressure from one side on the DA's office to get her for something.
Cosgrove responded to us by email. He says the phones were seized prior to Read's first trial in a related but separate witness intimidation probe. The probe centers around Read's communication with the controversial content creator Aiden Carney, who calls himself Turtleboy. Cosgrove says law enforcement has always planned to search the devices, and any suggestion that it is retribution is unfounded public relations spin. A previous attempt to indict Karen Read for targeting witnesses failed in front of a grand jury. And Carney, on the other hand, is facing witness intimidation charges, which he denies on the grounds of free speech.
Phones were seized and they haven't been searched. They haven't been.
They can't be searched. In a November 2025 affidavit, State Police Lieutenant Brian Tully confirmed Read's passwords are needed to immediately access her phones. Tully argues that Read's conversations with Carney did not cease after Carney's devices were seized, and her devices may yield evidence of any such conversations.
I think that the case against Turtleboy flies in the face of the First Amendment as well.
Please.
This investigation.
It doesn't if you knew all the ins and outs, which you clearly don't.
Finally comes to an end.
Cosgrove tells me he works independently of the Norfolk DA's office.
Does.
He says he filed a legal memo during Read's second trial stating this investigation was moving forward. We'll be watching to see what Judge Crump decides. For 25 Investigates, I'm Ted Daniel.
That was 6 hours ago. So that was Boston 25, 6 hours ago. Well, I mean, the witnesses moved to move Read's Bristol County civil action to federal court today. They want it. They cite vengeful abuse of judicial process in order to evade responsibility for John O'Keefe's death through a smear campaign. The witnesses have come out swinging. The full document is on Mass Courts, choose Superior Court, Bristol County. And then you enter Karen Read's name in the search box and then scroll to the bottom of the docket and click on the image for the last entry. They just want it moved to federal court, which, funny enough, if in federal court, we won't see any of it because federal court has no cameras, so that's kind of how it works, I'm interested to see, will Karen Read respond to the Turtleboy attacks on Billy Bush? Because I really don't think, like Billy Bush seems to think, they're going to kumbaya, make some peace. I don't think that's going to happen. I just don't see that happening there, bub. You can't kumbaya with someone who constantly lies and makes shit up. It's just not the way it works. I mean, this is Tekken. This is Mortal Kombat, right? Like, finish him, fight. I mean, see my thumbnail. You know what I mean? It's a clash. It's a clash of the two of them at this point. And, he's poo-pooing her. She's not really saying much other than a few comments that she made on JFK's comment section. And to be fair, at least she was sort of telling the truth about him, like he illegally recorded her, just like he did many other people. Scanlon, Lindsay, Lucky, Kara, Lisa. You can go on and on with that list of people. Just that goes on and on and on and on, the amount of people that he still records to this day. And in his words, who cares? Who cares if he illegally wiretaps people? Who gives a shit, right? Well, most people give a shit because it's fucking weird behavior. Why you would feel the need to record these conversations, I don't know. It was moved to federal court. WCVB and Boston Herald are reporting it was moved to federal court. Judge has already been assigned. Ooh, it's the same judge that did Whitey Bulger. That's interesting. You know who saw that judge, right? You know who dealt with that judge? Hank Brennan. He was on the Whitey case. He was on the Whitey case. Interesting, my friends. Well, we're about at 4 hours. It's about time for me to go eat something. I'm starving like a hostage. I'm stabbing like a hostage. So, I mean, I love you guys, and I won't see you till Sunday. Wednesday. Yep. Yeah, Sunday. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving. I hope everybody has an amazing, awesome Thanksgiving. Gobble, gobble. Whether you're eating turkey or ham or something else, you know, don't get too full. Save some for some turkey sandwiches. I won't see you Friday. Friday's my birthday. I will try to enjoy it if I make it out. I appreciate all of you. Saturday is my day off, so I'm not here Saturday. Plus, I'm going to do a little bit of recuperating from the turkey, you know? Like, I need a whole recoup day. And then I'll see you guys Sunday. We'll have a Sunday show. We always have a Sunday show. I love your stinking faces. If you so choose to donate to the show and or my birthday celebration, you can do so these many different ways that we have. We have all of this stuff is in the description of the video. All the stuff is here. Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Revolut. We have the link for debit and credit. You can remain anonymous for all of those. Anything, obviously, that I get today or wherever, before I go live again, I will read at least the amounts. Everybody can remain anonymous if they so choose, but I don't read the amounts when we come back on Sunday. I hope everybody has an amazing day. Also know, throughout any of the time that I am not live, you can still reach me. twistedtragedies3@gmail. You can find me on X, Facebook. You can just comment on the video as well and be like, hey, here's my email, reach out to me, whatever. You can always get in touch with me. You can get in touch with one of my mods. They can get in touch with me for you. So if anybody needs me in the meantime, just know you're not alone. I can be reached even when I'm not here. I'm more than happy to answer emails, DMs, all that stuff. And I'll see your stinking faces later on in the week. Everybody have an amazing holiday. Bye.